What's good, everybody? MidMorningSol back at it again with another playthrough part to Cafe Enchante. And y'all, we are about to start, you know who, Posterboy Tell'em. Yes, God, we are starting Mizir Rex's route. It's a bit longer than the others because Posterboy has 5 chapters, y'all. But that's beside the point. All the prologues have been unlocked too, so I expect a long build-up and a long playthrough for Mizir. But yeah, I'm curious as to what we're going to get ourselves into with the Demon King. So without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and proceed, shall we? We shall. Yes, we're going to use Katone Awaki because I am not creative, or I just don't feel like breaking the immersion any more than I already do. Tufui Ego Eris. And the movie at the end of the last video fucked up, so it just annoys me. But hopefully we get some more context here. Wind brushes the infinite, colorless world like a breath. When he leaves, I'll be alone again. And if he returns, I am certain all I would have for him is apathy. Yes, that's right. This is unfair. If he was saved, I should have been saved as well. That's why I continued to hope. And I kept reaching out. If I can't reach it now, I just need to reach out further. Then, little by little, the hand I reached out with, it will at last reach her. What the hell? Is her me? Oh, yes it is. Oh, shit.
やっと見つけた.
Ooh. Oh my, who is this? All right, y'all. Damn this. We just skip into the Mizir parts. What does Mizir care for? You all are guests, right? Sure. We'll go with that. Yeah, we're just Yeah, we're just gonna skip all this. Well, I guess we'll do Mizir's, but the rest I'm skipping. A Demon King? Even I realized how dumbfounded I sounded as those words spilled from my lips. The man standing in front of me, Mizir. I vaguely remember him saying something like that the first time he appeared.
魔王。人間界では割とメジャーな職業じゃない？名前くらい聞いたことあるでしょ？
A major role? You mean that sort of character? Like the ones in video games?
そうそう。人間を虐殺したり、世界を征服したり、闇に包み込んだり、お姫様をさらったりするあれだね。だから油断してると、君もさらっちゃうぞ、お姫様。
Talking about massacring people with that smile doesn't seem quite right.
ああ、とはいえ、ここではオフだしね。魔王様とか呼ばずに、ミシェルでいいよ。ああ、でも、ミッシーとか、 みっちゃん呼びも捨てがたいな。
I like that. Let's call him that.
ほら、相性ってなんだか距離が縮まった気がしない？
They sure do. Boo, stick in the mud. No, I have no need for that. I don't need to close the gap between us. Girl, Wheat is playing his route, so I don't know what you want. Alright, see y'all in the next choice. Gosh darn it, y'all. Sorry. Let me fix this damn mic. This lapel mic. Alright, so I couldn't quite believe them. I'll try for now. I guess I'll go for I'll try for now. I don't know what the hell. Alright, yeah, I guess there's no new choice. So, see you in the next scene then. Damn, she's good. That was a close one though. I almost thought I fucked up. I guess, whatever. I don't know. Well, I think this is just shorter. Because I'm dealing with Mesier and like another non-human. I guess I would say that's not true. Or I don't know. I forgot what the fuck that question said. Alright, y'all. So I'm actually going to not skip this part because it's Mesier centered. So, and I'm sick of like... I'm sick of having to like... whatchamacallit? Just... you know, just sit here and look at the skip text, you know. Gets boring after a while. With the bitter taste of failure on my lips, I await the critique from one final person. Everyone else says my coffee is shit at this point, so that, in case you're wondering, the scene. Mesier, eyes closed, sips with elegance. I better brace myself for something harsh. Get ready for it. What the hell? I only tapped it once. I don't know why I did that. Mesier?
Huh? Oh, ごめん。何の話だっけ?
Chat. Chat. Oh, let me play the voice again. I'm sorry, y'all.
Huh? Oh, ごめん。何の話だっけ?
My legs buckle as this underwhelming response lingers. Excuse me. I want to know what he thinks. You were the most excited for this. We're taste testing the coffee.
ああ、ごめんごめん。ちょっと考え事してて。
I'm like, dude, if it tastes like shit, you should just tell her so she knows better. Pardon y'all, I needed a sip of water. About what?
ああ、魔界の様子についてね。派手にやらかす幹部を部下に持つと、魔王様も苦労しちゃってさ。
I decided it was best not to pursue the matter, further. Okay, well, let's get back to the point. What did you think of the coffee I made? How did it taste to you?
ああ、その話。普通に美味しいよ。
I don't believe you. Huh?
お前、いくらなんでも適当すぎんだろ。
Yeah, I'm asking for your opinion. You don't need to protect me. Just tell me what you think.
ねえ、本当に美味しいと思ってるんだけど。
I honestly think he was pulling punches.
むしろ、もう一杯欲しいな。おかわりってもらえるの?
Huh? Wait, really? It's that good. His unexpected affirmation of my brew caused me a healthy amount of confusion.
ミシェルは本当にコーヒーが好きだよね。ソアンさんの時も思ったけど、時間があればずっとコーヒー飲んでたし。
It's amazing how his teeth aren't rotting and falling out, and his breath is permanently coffee tainted. But okay, King.
ミシェルの場合は度が過ぎているとたまに思うな。
Really? He drinks that much? Right, he's always buying coffee when he's out. He brings it here to drink. I've seen him making coffee himself before too, which begs the question, why doesn't he just make his own damn coffee? Even though we've only just met, I already associate Mizir with coffee. As everyone talks about their own tastes, Mizir suddenly crosses his arms. Huh? He was looking at me for some reason. Ah, 'cause you know it's our time together, right?
そうだね。俺も結構長生きしていろいろなものを口にしてきたけど、その中でもコーヒーは世界で一番好きだから。 When he spoke, his face, it looked so soft, so kind. Anyone could become enamored staring at a face like that. Okay, bitch. Let's keep reading. I wasn't sure if Mizir's critique was sparing my feelings or if it was a real opinion. With the truth shrouded in mystery, my training would continue. A short time after, I left for more supplies. I think I got too many things. My hands got tired, and I set the tote bag I've been carrying down near the curb. It held ingredients for everyone's meals. I had coffee too since I ran out after the taste test earlier. There was a lot. Maybe it wasn't a good idea to use so much, even if I needed the extra practice. I would have brought another tote bag if I knew this would happen. Complaining won't get me anywhere, I thought, and I was preparing to keep going when... いたことね。買い出しに行くなら俺に声かけてくれればよかったのに。
Huh? Oh, that voice. I was being called by a very familiar voice. I turned around smiling and saw him. Yes, God.
それとも俺から誘うべきだったかな。
Yes, you should dress like this more often. I was like, what the fuck is that noise, y'all? It's an ice cream truck out here. What?
誰とか言わないでね。魔王様、悲しみのあまり洪水とか起こしちゃうぞ。
I would make a joke about flooding, but nah. The black robe, nowhere to be seen. He had no horns growing out of his head. Well, technically his hair kind of resembles that shape. Come on, give us the full body shot, God. He just had on regular clothes like any other, like any shop in town would sell. But that face and that calm voice were most definitely... Mizir?
はいはい、ご名答。ミシェル・アレックス。お姫様のお供をすべく参上いたしました。
His elegant bow was a bit of an exaggeration. Satisfied with the surprised look on my face, he lifts his head up and... Oh, MidMorningSol, stop yawning.
He laughed just like a child who executed a prank perfectly. Okay, bitch. It seemed that Mizir came to get me while I was on my way back from my shopping. He lifts up my tote bag with ease. It was heavy. He walks with me, humming to himself, because he know he the shit. Ah! Come on, King. My eyes are drawn to the side of his face. It's not a dream. This is really happening.
そんなに見つめてもぴょこっと角は生えてこないよ。
That's okay, darling. I wasn't planning on wanting the horns to grow back. That's not what I'm doing. Mizir, why do you look like this?
見ての通り人間に擬態してるだけだけど。
You can do that? Look, as you can see, yes, he can.
そりゃまあチートが売りの魔王様ですので。
Well, couldn't you have gone out like that all this time without casting that magic from before?
今日は気まぐれで着替えただけ。やっぱり慣れてるあっちの方が体も軽いしね。
That's kind of hard to imagine, but okay. Sure. In my opinion, the Demon King clothes seem much, much heavier though. And also, the change in his nails and horns seem to be from magic, but his clothes look real. In fact, it seems like they were things Grandpa might have bought for him in the past.
でも懐かしいな。ソーアンともこの姿で一緒に買い物してたっけ。
You went with Grandpa?
うん。とは言っても、ほとんどが自由気ままに回る散歩みたいなものだったけど。具体的にはコーヒー専門店とか知り合いが働いてる店とか。
It all comes back to coffee again, huh? Mizir, he really does love coffee. As for the people you went to see, were they acquaintances of Grandpa's?
いや、どっちかっていうと俺側かな。駅とか商店街にいる人外の様子をたまに見に行ってたんだよ。
Huh. Wait, did I just hear you say... did I just hear you casually use non-human in a sentence?
琴音は毎回いいリアクションしてくれるから見てて飽きないな。とはいえ俺たちだってこの街にうまく溶け込んでるし、そこまで驚くことじゃなくない？
Well, yeah, but I thought it was a special in your case because of the gate of in Enchante. Excuse me, y'all.
ああ、そこの認識が違うのか。一応ゲート以外にも異界同士で行き来する方法はあるんだよ。
Yeah, we already know, y'all, but we done did the time shift for Otome, so she doesn't know.
それで人間界に来ちゃったり、帰化した人外がその辺りにちらほらいたりするんだ。
This is the first time I've heard of this. What other ways are there? Girl, I don't feel like going over it.
ややこしい事情があるし、説明すると長くなりそうなんだよね。この辺りの説明はおいおいってことで。
Yeah, hopefully we could skip it too. Right. I mean, I think it's worth talking about now.
まあまあいいじゃない。せっかく新鮮なシチュエーションで君と歩いてるんだし。
Chad, you gotta do more than that for me to enjoy the scenery. It's a nice look-see, but if you want me to stand there and really admire, the clothes have to come off. Okay, I'll stop.
難しい話は後回しにして、のんびり喋りながら帰ろうよ。
He's right. All things considered, it's probably not a good idea to be talking about it outside.
ところでどう？俺の私服似合う？
Chad, I'd love to see a full body shot. See what you rocking with in terms of kicks. Oh, yeah. They suit you nicely. I'm pretty surprised. He stood out in more ways than one. Yep. Sorry. It seemed like Mizir hadn't noticed the fact that he was getting looks from other women around us. Should I gouge their eyes out now or later?
あ、本当？よかった。やっぱり普通の人間にお墨付きもらえると安心するね。うちのメンツってセンスが微妙だったり、服に対する価値観がずれてるから、感想をもらっても当てにならないからさ。
According to Mizir, clothes are a problem in particular for non-humans here. I can imagine. If they aren't careful about keeping up with current fashion, they risk standing out even more than they already do. So, he says he does it to be safe. Huh. I can see how living for so long could be a bit of a nuisance at times.
おっと、年寄り扱いはやめてほしいな。俺はまだまだ現役ですよ。
Saying things like that make you an old man.
ほうほう、君も言うようになったじゃない。なら年寄りらしく、君をお子様扱いしちゃおうかな。
Bring it on, Petty King. Huh?
おんぶと肩車、どっちがお好み？
No, what I want is something that's not necessarily for kids. But it's a T-rated game. What can you do? His eyes were serious. I take it all back. The Master Demon King is very young.
わかればよろしい。よしよし、いい子いい子。
I guess umu means like or whatever, like affirmation. He pats my head with his open hand as if to tease me. Ah, stop it! I'm not a little kid! We walked leisurely up the road to Enchante, teasing each other the whole way back. That was cute. We get back. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, because there's the coffee part. We get back to Enchante right as the sun was setting. The atmosphere had changed. I left out a word. The atmosphere inside had changed completely. Silence replaced the energy from earlier. Canis and Ignis mentioned they had things to attend to and returned to their worlds. Mr. Rindo went back to work at the GPM. He said he got a call after the tasting and had to work late. Illa is probably playing Otome games like usual in his room. It was just Mizir and I in this lonely cafe.
そうそう。豆を引くときは入れる直前に必要な量だけ。手動のコーヒーミルを使う場合は一定の間隔を保って。無理に力を入れる必要はないよ。
Okay. Mizir was next to me, guiding me on each and every step. I grind the coffee beans we went out to buy this evening, making sure I get the right taste out of them. I muttered to myself how abysmal the results were from earlier today, and that I should practice one more time today. Mizir returned to his normal form, deciding to guide me through it. Once again, I began to practice what Ignis seemed to really dislike earlier, hot coffee. After grinding down the last of the beans, Mizir took the coffee mill and looked inside. He nodded in approval.
均等に砕けてていい感じだね。じゃあ次はさっき言った通りそこの茶こしを使って。
Right. I don't blame Ignis though. I don't really like hot coffee either. I like iced coffee so much more. Relieved, I squint at the strainer I held. It made an incredibly fine grind. With this, we would get a more defined and pleasant flavor from the coffee, allegedly. In any case, first, I have to try and be able to produce a normal cup of coffee. Don't try to make something ornate. Just get the basics down first. Mizir's words from earlier echoed through my head, and I followed them diligently. What the fuck? I set the paper filter on top of the carafe. I pour in the coffee, spreading it evenly. I take the kettle of hot water and pour it in a spiral from the center to edge.
そこで一度ストップ。20秒から30秒ぐらい蒸らして、全体にお湯が行き渡るのを待って。
Okay. The grains are starting to bloom.
よし。じゃあ追加のお湯を注ごうか。中心から今の粉の高さをなるべくキープしつつ、ゆっくり優しくね。
Once I got, what the fuck? Once I measured, oh my God, Sasha. Once I used all of the hot water I had measured out, now then, I'll move the dripper out of the way. From the carafe that was shaped like a lid. Wow. Steam rose gently with a full-bodied scent. I hurried to pour the coffee into a cup before the lovely vapors disappeared, and placed it in front of Mizir, now seated. Squinting his eyes, he looks down at the freshly poured coffee. He slowly brings it to his mouth. Come on. As I saw him take a gulp, I swallowed my own breath as the nerves began to take over. After slowly tasting the coffee's flavor, come on.
すごいね。驚いた。
He answered the bare minimum as he took the cup away from his mouth. Oh, how am I supposed to interpret that?
食いつきがすごいな。もちろん、美味しいって意味でだよ。
Mizir answered me, laughing as I postured my body forward, interrogating him.
いや、本当に美味しいよ。苦味も想像した通りの強さになってる。これならイグニスたちも前向きな評価をくれるんじゃない？
With that, Mizir brings the cup to his mouth one more time. I put my hand to my chest in relief. Mizir's face, as he drank this cup, was much more relaxed than the one he wore during practice earlier. I really improved. Of course, I still have much more to train myself and learn excuse me. But now, I'll let myself enjoy the fact that Mizir is happily drinking coffee that I made. Whoop, whoop. After finishing a second cup, Mizir lets out a very satisfied sigh.
上手にできてるよ。琴音はしっかり教われば成長が早いタイプなのかも。
I can finally answer. Well, I had a good teacher. It was excellent simply because I had a good teacher. Of course, that teacher was Measier. Boy, you better pick up on these cues. I tried to learn how to brew coffee on my own, but when it comes to the basics of pouring a cup, I make mistakes and forget things, likely because I begin to feel so panicked. I guess it's important, no matter what you're working on, to have a little guidance from someone. I should have had you teach me from the very beginning.
それはどうだろう。何事も失敗の積み重ねで上達していくものなんだから。でも先生か。いいね。頼られてるって感じがするし、その響き悪くないかも。
Yes, God, girls, we in there. We already in there. I knew this was the better choice. Now I'm embarrassed for calling you that. Girl, shut the hell up. Why did you do that? You try to get in there, not put yourself out. Up. The music good?
美味しいコーヒーをありがとう。ことね。お礼に俺からもコーヒーを入れてあげるよ。せっかくだし、サイフォンも使ってみせようか。
Oh, yeah. I'm tempted to just fucking say, you know what? Let's skip it, but no, let's see this through. Huh? Really? Okay, that sounds good to me. I nod to his wonderful suggestion and sit, switching places with Measier. Measier, now behind the counter, looks over the coffee beans we bought and scrutinizes them.
さて、今回は他ならぬ君がお客さんなわけだし、ちょっとずるいけど、張り切って入れちゃおうかな。
Huh? No, he's gonna cheat. With a snap from his fingers, the coffee beans began to float and dance in midair. Each bean was breaking apart on its own, beginning to release a deep aroma. The cups that were put away and jars full of sugar cubes began to dance into the air. What? Cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater.
これやるの久しぶりだからな。うっかり落とさないようにしないと。
Measier flicks and points his fingers in all sorts of directions. As if performing a synchronized dance, the water, now hot again somehow, emerges from the carafe and pours itself into the flask attached to the siphon.
ああ、聞き忘れてた。ことね、ブレンドコーヒーなら君はどんな味が好み？
Not really. I mean, for me, not really. I mean, coffee is coffee. But there is a time, you can never go wrong with medium blend. But there's times where, like, okay, with dessert, I like a dark roast. For breakfast, I like a light roast. And, you know, medium is pretty good. If I have just, like, the taste of coffee, like, I want the taste of coffee. Huh? I don't have any preferences in particular. Just something that isn't too acidic. Girl, yeah, I can't stand acidic coffee. Which, if you do cold brew, it gets rid of the acidity. I love cold brew.
Okay. それじゃコロンビアを多めにしておこうか。
Okay, he knows which region of coffee isn't that acidic. I think Colombia is dark roast, or tends to be on the darker side, so it's not that much caffeine, not that much
acidity issues. Responding to my request, some freshly ground coffee grinds separate themselves and are lowered into a measuring bowl on their own. While that was happening, various other tasks necessary for pouring a cup of coffee were conducted all around him in midair.
はい、お待たせしました。君専用の魔王様スペシャルブレンドです。暑いから気をつけてね。
Aw, okay, I will. As I sat there astonished, Measier's face closed in on mine. Oh, you're gonna kiss me? No, not yet, I don't think he is. Coming back to my senses, my hands held a cup of coffee that had appeared and was filled with a captivating, shimmering black coffee.
あれ、もしかして好みの香りじゃなかった？
Okay, cause black coffee, I tell you, it's an acquired taste. It really is. But if you've been fasting, or you just don't like extra shit in your coffee, it's a welcome drink. No, I was just surprised. I didn't know you could use your powers on something like making coffee. With my surprise, I failed to watch any of the steps, like how to use the siphon.
何回も言ってるでしょ。何でもありのチート魔王だって。とはいえコーヒーに関しては結構こだわりがあるし、これだけはそれなりに練習したけどね。
Wow, so there are even things that what? Wow, so there are even things that even you have to practice? Huh?
まあね。俺ってばチートはチートだけど、別に全知全能じゃないからさ。
Oh, shoot.
結局はできることしかできないし、知らないことは知らないわけさ。コーヒーの入れ方だってソーアンから教えてもらっただけだし、こんな器具やら何やら知りもしなかったし、それにほら俺って大雑把だから、こういう細かい動き実は苦手でさ。高級なカップを派手に割ってソーアンに雷を落とされたことも一度や二度じゃないよ。
Knowing Grandpa, he would have given even you a few lectures in a row and not think twice about it. In fact, there was really anyone, human or non-human, who can go toe-to-toe with a man who lived like him. Was there? I didn't read that right.
けど、その経験があるからこそ、君に入れる機会が訪れたわけだし、叱られながら練習した甲斐もあったよ。
I'm glad then.
コーヒーってさ、自分で入れて飲むのもいいんだけど、誰かに入れてもらった方が美味しいんだよね。その気持ちを君に送ることができてよかったよ。
Ah. Oh.
そうだ。いいか、覚えとけ。ことね。
I almost want to skip this, but I should. And miss out on Katone's fine granddaddy.
コーヒーは自分で飲むのもいいが、自分で入れるより誰かに入れてもらう方がうまいんだよ。
Is she a little baby? Kids don't usually like coffee. Grandpa used to say the same thing. I tasted the coffee Measier poured for me. I took a bigger sip.
There was a gentle, bitter flavor that spread as I tasted the coffee, and after its warmth embraced me, I finished my cup. Yeah, I think I get it. The coffee you made me is really good.
そっか。お気に召していただき何より。
Slowly continuing to drink the coffee that was poured for me, I look over at Mizir, who continued to use his magic as he began to clean up. Hey, ever since we met for the first time, you've been so nice to me. Why is that? Girl, we're trying to freaking romance him. Why do you think? Wait, did I meet you at some point in the past, Mizir?
ほんの短い時間だったからね。覚えてないのも無理はないよ。
It's because we've met before when I was little, isn't it?
そうだな。自分でもよくわかってないけど、多分そうなのかな。いわば親愛の情ってやつ。君が困っていたら助けてあげたい。悲しそうなら笑顔にしてあげたい。脅威があれば守ってあげたい。そうだな。俺はあの頃からずっとそう思い続けてるよ。
It's unfortunate I don't remember. I'm certain I would have spent a lot of time with you if you'd been around.
いいんだよ。俺にはこれでも十分すぎるくらいだ。でもそっか。いざ振り返ってみると俺たち感動の再会の割にはろくな挨拶してないね。いっそここで仕切り直そうか。
That's what you prefer. With that, Mizir exits the counter, narrowing the gap between us and speaks.
ここは幻想の狭間。古き絆と新たな出会いが交錯する場所。はじめまして、素敵なお嬢さん。あなたにお会いできて嬉しいです。
That was Enchante, the namesake of the cafe, a word expressing the joy of meeting someone. I could feel the way he did in my heart. My response was simple but true. Yes, me too. Ah, that's so cute. Alright. We get to the part where we're skipping a lot of shit. Oh boy. I can't see how he's doing! Okay, I'll stop. Okay, now. Okay. Okay, now that I've decided, who should I go supervise? What do you think? Alright. Mizir was saying that he would be in charge of drinks. I was sure he would be by the table preparing lots of delicious coffees. Bitch, everybody don't like coffee. I understand he likes coffee, but come on, man. Coffee, tea, soda, water. We'll see what he's doing. With that assumption, I headed down to the cafe, however... Huh? He's not here. Maybe he went to the convenience store to get drinks other than coffee? I would, assume. I would hope so.
どうしたことね。何か気になることでも。
First Husbando. Where is my current pursuing Husbando? I turned towards the voice that called to me to find Kana standing there, carrying a large amount of items. He didn't say he was in charge of snacks. I'm sure he was on his way back from the trip to the store for ingredients. I came to see how Mizir was doing, but I don't see him anywhere.
ああ、ミシェルならば先ほどゲートの方へ歩いていくのを見かけたぞ。
What? The gate?
我もどうしたのかと気になりはしたのだが。魔界の方で何かあったのかもしれん。最近のミシェルはあの部屋の様子を見に行くことが多いように思える。
I see. Thanks for letting me know, Canis. Canis assured me that it was no trouble and began headed to the kitchen. I wonder if Mizir's still standing in front of the gate right now. Maybe I should take over the drinks if this is a bad time for him. That in mind, I step into a room I hadn't visited in a while, with the gate inside it. There was Mizir, gazing at the plate hanging on the gate, the one that read closed. His head was tilted. He looked puzzled. Though it seemed he wasn't intending on heading back into the demon world. Mizir?
おう、君か。何も言わずに持ち場を離れて心配かけちゃったかな。
Well, that's okay. Is something wrong with the gate?
いや、何もないよ。何もないはずなんだけど。
But
なんかさっきこの部屋の前を通りかかった時に妙な物音が聞こえた気がして。
Mizir falls silent, staring back at the gate. I began to stare at it as well, but I couldn't see anything wrong with it. The plate read closed. I believe that means no one could come in from an outside world. I'm sure he had thought the same thing. With that, the expression on Mizir's face began to fade quickly.
まあ、気のせいか。店の方に戻ろうか、ことね。サボって多分遅れを取り戻さないと。
Would you like a hand? I mean, you're up for pouring coffee, right? I'd like to learn a little more from you.
お、それは嬉しい提案。ともかくまずはコンビニかな。ジュースの類を揃えないとね。
We leave the gate to our backs, smiling as we exit the room. What? To be sure, I glanced back at the gate. Relieved knowing there was nothing there, I closed the door without hesitation. Uh-oh. What the hell? A few hours later, does this repeat? Yo. I guess we could learn, and even though it repeats, but whatever. Alright then, how about the demon world Asmodia? Will you tell me about the demon world, Mizir?
お、それじゃあそこを牛耳る魔王様自らが解説してあげようじゃない。
I figure, y'all, because it's his route, we might as well. But we skipping everybody else's shit. Observe world number XXXX, Demon World Asmodia. Losing its sun, the world is pitch black, its land illuminated by a dark moon. Its atmosphere is filled with miasma, or miasma, however you want to pronounce it. with swamps of terrible poison welling about. The non-humans that live there are called demons, who are creatures of impulse and fight in endless bloody wars. The leader of such a dangerous species is the strongest of them, Demon Lord Mizir Alex. See, they called it Alex, but in other translations, it's Mizir Rex. So I think this might be the translation for I think it's Mizir Rex, but I could be wrong, y'all. I could be wrong. Additionally, humans live in this world too. Not many, but every few centuries, a hero is born of them. The heroes vow to rid the world's miasma and subdue the one responsible, the Demon Lord.
でもさ、実はアスモディアの正気って魔王とか関係ないんだよね。あれ、もともとの世界環境だし、万が一俺を倒せたとしてもどうにもならないんだけど。勇者一族はその辺知らないっぽいんだよね。どうするんだろうね。俺が死んでも世界が戻らなかったら。
That's the end of the report. However, this didn't come from observations of Asmodia. It was simply a report straight from the Demon Lord Mizir. This report was based on hearsay from him, and as such, we weren't able to verify whether or not his words were true. At the very least, I understood that the demon world is a very harsh world to live in. Just then,
勇者一族とかいうやつら、そいつらが不憫でならねえな。
そう、勇者ってだけで無条件でチヤホヤされるんだし、意外とバッドエンドがお似合いかもよ。
あとレポートにもあったと思うけど、これ全部ミシェルからの話だからね。どこまでが本当なのか怪しいもんさ。
あれ、信用ないな。善意で聞き取り調査に協力してあげたっていうのに。
according to Mr. Rindo, demons were a very rare species. The only one who had actually appeared and was cooperative and ever being studied was Mizir here. So I'm curious about skipping the rest of the shit. I don't know if Mizir cares, but whatever. This one, I think, is the one where Il and Mizir are talking to each other. Oh, yo! I was so trying to, like, just rapidly mash, and then I got impatient, and then all of a sudden, I had to I fast forwarded too much, and then, lo and behold, skipped it. Alright, see you in the next choice. Oh my god. I'll do whatever I can, are you sure? Whatever, y'all, I don't care. Okay, what is this? Please be careful, don't push yourself. Please be careful, don't push yourself. Please be careful, I guess. I guess let's greet everyone. New dialogue, who this? Okay. Just that one line. Let me see. Yeah.
Just that one line. What the hell? Just one line, folks. Ugh. See you in the next. Okay, I think I'm gonna say I trust in everyone. But okay, new dialogue. These one-lined pause breaks or something else, y'all. I'm worried about ill, so we can spend more time with me here. Isn't that sad? Does this even matter? I don't know. Almost there. This is a fucking long intro too, though. Oh, is that a new choice I see? Of all day, it doesn't seem like I need to do any shopping. What should I do? The choice I haven't fucking chose yet. That's what I should do. I've read most of the books I have here. I have time though. Maybe I'll reread one. With that thought, I tried pulling out a handful of books. But I still remember what's in all these. I was looking through the books on the shelf when I heard a soft knock on the door. No, I mean, excuse me all. Yes, come in.
やあ、ことね。ってあれ、読書の邪魔をしちゃったかな。
Oh no, not at all. I was thinking of reading a book, but I've read everything here. I was just wondering what I should do.
これだけの量全部、君も結構読書家なんだね。
Bookworm too. Wait, he said two? Oh. Okay, you bookworm or somebody else a bookworm? Oh, right. You're usually reading a book when you're having your coffee, huh?
だね。俺は文庫本が中心だけど、気分次第では一日中本を読んでることもあるかな。あ、じゃあ提案。読む本がなくて困ってるっていうなら、俺と一緒に探しに行かない？
Okay. Katani, what you mean, huh? You can't read between the lines, child. Huh? Mezier took me to a place I'd never been. A used bookstore in the shopping district. Makes me ultra sleepy. Sorry, y'all. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. Well, I kind of do know. I did eat lunch, and I don't know. Kind of ate a big lunch. So yeah, anytime I'm full, like I'm extra sleepy. You ain't never been to no used bookstore? It looked nostalgic and smelled of old paper. It wasn't a big store by any means, but it held a great many books. Excuse me. My heart started racing. Gray, better hope you don't have to go to the hospital for that. My heart started racing, looking at this world stacked high with words. I never knew a used bookstore was here. A lot of people have digital books now, but I always prefer the feel of paper. Me too, child. I don't like staring at stuff too long, like computer screens and digital stuff for too long consecutively, because yeah, it kind of hurts my eyes.
ああ、わかるわかる。本の香りも心を穏やかにするし。
Excuse me.
ことね、せっかくだし、それぞれ好きな本を探して持ち寄ろう。
Yeah.
At Mizir's suggestion, I headed straight for the shelves with any and everything related to mythological stories. Grandpa's books had an influence on me. Recently, I've been completely engrossed by this genre. Oh, this book was sold out online. And this one was so expensive that I held off on buying it. Who knew it'd be so cheap? It was a mountain of treasure to me. Caught in the moment, I continued picking up book after book, and then what?
あらら、ずいぶんな量になったね。大きめのテーブルでよかったよ。
After buying the ones that interested us, damn, excuse me. Mid-morning didn't give a fuck. That's why she keeps yawning. No. After buying the ones that interested us, we went right back to Enchante. There, our treasures were piled high upon the table. Damn, easy, let me find out you fucking strong as hell. I mean, like, strength-wise, like, physical strength. Maybe we went a little overboard. It's not like we could read it all now. We? Bitch, it was probably you.
読み切れないのはタイトルをメモだね。
I move the pile of books to the side and sit across from Mizir.
ここにあるラインナップを見た感じ、ファンタジーの類が好きなんだね。
Yeah, I mean, I read all sorts of things, but I always come back to these. Oh, and the books you read, Mizir, are mystery novels, right?
あ、そうだよ。よく見てるね。現代推理小説も好きだけど。
Okay, I can appreciate, mystery.
俺はやっぱり歴史に名を残す名作の方が趣味に合うかな。特にアーサー・コナン・ドイル作のシャーロック・ホームズシリーズとかね。
Okay. The reason why that the predecessor series to Phoenix Wright ain't coming up to the West. Motherfucking like there's a character in the game is pretty much Sherlock Holmes, but Sherlock Holmes series, world famous detective novels written by Arthur Conan Doyle. It's Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, if I can recall correctly. They tell of the activities of the great Detective Holmes and his assistant, Dr. Watson. And y'all, I hear that Code Realize has a character based off on him. It's not him, but it's pretty much him. So, interesting stuff, right? Oh, I know of that series, at least. The great detective Sherlock Holmes and his partner John H. Watson. The stories revolve around the pair solving all sorts of crime and mysteries. Hold up. Isn't that the Code Realize silhouette of them? Because I actually did see a picture of him in Code Realize. That's really slick if that's the case. It could be generic anime dudes 5,428 and 9, but what do I know? And even Maurice LeBlanc, the author of the series of The Gentlemanly Thief, Lupin. Child, that I wouldn't be surprised at that point because the poster boy for Code Realizes Lupin. Whatever, Lupin, whatever. Gentleman Thief Lupin series. Excuse me. Popular novels written by French author Maurice LeBlanc about the activities of the gentleman thief Arsène Lupin. He had
he had Holmes appear in his works, which was a big deal at the time.
明確な宿敵がいる探偵っていうのがまた熱くてさ。
That's a cute nod to Code Realize if that's the case too, though.
中でも天才的な知能を持つ犯罪界のナポレオン、ジェームズ・モリアーティ。
Okay.
彼いいよね。あの計算高さと狡猾さ。
Okay, literary king. I stand.
彼が実在するなら、あるいは別の世界にいるとしたら、ぜひ魔王軍の参謀にスカウトしたい。
I hope you're. I hope you rethink that idea. He's already an insanely powerful demon lord. He'd be unstoppable if he did that.
それで、琴音は今から何を読むの？
There's a lot here, but I think this one catches my eye. A love story set within the times of Greek mythology. What? Shit. It's been a while since I touched Greek mythology. Shit. No, I'm thinking of Antigone, but that's a tragedy. I don't know, y'all. Okay. Is it the moon goddess, whatever? Selene or something like that? I don't know, y'all. I forgot. So it's the story where a goddess and a human boy fall in love. It doesn't just have a crazy plot, but it's popular because of the psychology involved, and the romance is written in such in such detail. I don't know why I stuck the grade in there. Sorry. I'm sure it's not unusual in these myths for humans and gods to fall in love, but that's just how we read them. It's a love held not only by two people, but it went across species. It must have been hard. I want to know how it... Sorry, I was rambling.
いやいや、構わないよ。俺たちと空想の類は切っても切れない関係。だからそういう話、実は好きだったり。
Huh?
前に俺たちがちらっと語ったでしょ。カヌス、デュラハンの存在が伝承として残っている一例のように、悪魔や天使の存在もゲートやホールを通して俺やイルの世界から伝わってきた可能性があるって。
Okay.
そう仮定するとさ、自分たちがこっちでどういうイメージを抱かれているかちょっと気になるじゃない？
Ah, I see.
それに君がこういったものをどれほど好きなのか、その熱を理解できてよかった。ありきたりなセリフだけどさ、夢中になれることがあるっていうのはいいことだと思うんだよね。
I wouldn't go that far. This is really just a hobby for me.
趣味だからこそすごいんだよ。俺はどうも長い間生きてる影響か、秋っぽい性分でね。今はマイブームの推理小説もあとどのぐらい続くかどうか。
That's right. These years lived much longer than the others. Okay, you mean than. That said, he's probably done all sorts of things that normal people try. I'm sure it'd be hard to stick with a single hobby. Let me read that again. I'm sure it'd be hard to stick with a single hobby for someone like him.
だからさ、もしかしたらいずれ君と同じように空想の物語に思いを馳せる日が来るかもしれない。その時はおすすめの本のご教授を願いたいかな。ね、先
Senpai. It sounds so strange. You're always my teacher when it comes to anything related to coffee. I laugh, holding my voice down so it doesn't bother anyone else around us. Meezer smiles at me in satisfaction for some reason.
こうやって静かな空間で君とコーヒー以外の話をするのも楽しいね。みんなといるとどうも騒がしくなっちゃうし、いや、賑やかなのは好きなんだけどさ。
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've held a conversation like that about books.
ならよかった。今回は急な話だったけど、機会があればまた誘っていいかな。
Of course. I'd like to hear more about your favorite books next time. After that, we spent our time reading books. That was cute. And at times taking breaks and talking about them till we had our fill. We actually didn't spend too much time talking as we were reading. But the time I spent with Meezer was quiet, and it felt so calming. Whatever, I don't know. Alright, we here. Lord, y'all. So we're gonna play this through because this is his route. But first, all of that, let me save. Oops. Let me save. All right. He runs. Ignoring how out of breath he is. Branches cut him, but it didn't matter. Running through the grove, Kaoru Rindo dashes through the forest in the night.
これでも最悪の状況を想定してきたつもりだったけど、まさかそれを上回る事態とはさすがに参ったね。
With a grunt, he turns off his light, jumping into bush or brush to hide himself. He holds his breath for 5-10 seconds. Glaring at the dangerous darkness in front of him, Rindo finally breathes again. Finally breathes again. Yeah, I was right the first time. The fuck, Sasha?
Rindo, 追っ手は来ているでありますか？
どうにか振り切ったと思う。これで一息つけそうだ。
返すも申し訳ないであります。我々空霊族のために。
Crawling out of Rindo's chest pocket was a non-human some 15 centimeters tall. By human standards, its face was deformed with rough skin that looked like earthenware. Rindo gives a nervous smile to the being that just like an old Haniwa statue.
別に気にする必要はないさ。これもお仕事の一環なんでね。次がお出ましだ。ま
た追いかけっこでありますか？
残念ながらね。しつこいやつだよ、まったく。
Changing out the magazine, Rindo lets loose shots of parabellum rounds and glares at the sky through the trees.
やれやれ、これは今日中に琴音ちゃんのコーヒーを飲みに帰るのは難しそうだ。
In the dark of the night, an unmistakable eeriness filled the obscure red sky. Skitty. Just kidding. The sky, unlike anything seen in the human world, weighed heavily on him. mixed evening sky slowly expanding above his head as if demanding that he leave. It was dusk on a particular day. I, Katone Awaki, was out shopping in the shopping district, with two men holding our goods. Tissues, soap, and 2 sponges. Alright, that's all the cleaning supplies. Now the decorations for the shop. I want to try to keep everything we buy to 100 yen shops.
Nah.
Huh? Oh, I want to pick up some beans too. It'll cost more if we have it delivered.
おい、まだ買い物する気満々のそこのバカ店主。
Huh? What's up, Ignis?
どうかしたじゃねえ。俺たちの今の姿を見て何か言うことねえのかよ、てめえは。
I look back at the people accompanying me. Kenneth had 2 bags in each of his hands with a total of 4 bags. Ignis holds the same around with another 2 bags hanging around his neck. Well, I got 2 hands, so we're good. You look like a dog with a collar on. It's kinda cute. Kinda hot.
犬扱いすんな。つか好きで首から下げてんじゃねえ。どう見てもこれ以上はモテねえだろ。
Man, Ignis, stop being such a whiny brat. I could hold like freaking, how many? Like double what you're holding in my hand. But granted, it cuts off the circulation to my fingers. I don't like doing that for too long. But yeah, quit your complaining.
イグニスには重すぎたか。では代わりに我の首にかけてだな。
See? He best husbando number 1. He doesn't complain. He actually wants to put him around his neck.
重さの問題じゃねえっての。つかてめえの体のどこに首なんてパーツがあるんだよ。
Yes. Sorry. I bought a bit too much. Let's just head back to Enchante for the day. I turned toward the roads leading back home with the Headless Knight and the Firewolf. I'm used to the shopping district now, and it's rare to find shops I don't know about. Not like the bookstore you ain't know about, but okay, sis. I feel like I've walked through the town so much by now that I'm a pretty familiar face.
あら、そうさんのところの今日はどこかでお買い物？
Don't mind me, I'm taking another sip of my water. And by sip, I mean gulp. I don't know. Oh, whoops. Yep, we went to quite a few shops and maybe bought a bit too much.
お、カブタンとお姉ちゃんだ。二人でデート？
Maybe a few videos back, you could call it that.
おい、ちょっと待てガキども。俺の存在だけスルーすんな。
じゃあ三人デートだ。
Well, that really isn't the case. You can't really call it a date if there's 3 of us anyway, right? Katone child. Them kids knows what's up. You could have a 3. Let me shut up.
そうだぞ少年。我々は単なる荷物持ちだ。
つまり二股？
What the fuck are they teaching y'all in school that you know about this?
どこでそういう言葉を覚えてくんだよ、こういうガキは。
Watching the 2 of them talk with these children, a smile broadens across my face. I like how she didn't deny the polyamory though. When I first started out at Enchante, I never even imagined I would be walking out around town like this. Like it wasn't nothing like this, excuse me. Right. It's only been a few months since I've taken over the cafe as the owner. And within that short amount of time, my life had changed completely compared to what it was before. I stepped into a new world, Mizir, Canis, Ill, and Ignis. I met these people that weren't quite normal. I mean, they were non-human. And after a chance encounter with Master Rindo, Mr. Rindo, the government's GPM agent, I decided to keep running this place that they all felt home in, Cafe Enchante. I'd even visit other worlds, and I met Kadia and Kororo, who have come to live at the cafe. I wouldn't think Kadia lives there, but okay. Thinking back to it all, I couldn't help but feel like so much had happened. I still feel like this could all be some kind of dream. As I said this to myself, I noticed two men walking in front of me. The sound of a voice coming from a TV in an electronics store reached my ear. Huh? Well, that news on TV, that's close to where my family lives. Right. It's a town close to the beach up in the northeast. Oh, wait, they're showing something. What the reporter on the let me read that again. What the reporter on the screen pointed to was a small island off the coast. It did feel familiar. It was an uninhabited island off the coast near the town where my parents lived. An eerie mist lulled above the island and looked like it would crush the island itself. Furrowing my brow at the images on screen, I began walking as the news moved on to the next story. I'm a bit worried. I should call home. As I was thinking, there, tucked in the streets near the station, stood Cafe Enchante. Of this shape I've come to get used to seeing all the time came... Today there was an unfamiliar voice coming from out in front of it. Yeah. I sort of remember it, yet I don't really. In fact, I wish I didn't remember it at all. I'm back. I quietly opened the door, and beyond it was the scene I imagined in my head. In other words... That's right. You tell him, Kadia. Good job.
進歩を妨げるやからめ。
There stood an excitable Mr. Mikado, and Katia desperately trying to stop him. Just freeze him in his place.
なあ、おかえり3人とも。君たちもカリアの半切れを魚に美味しいコーヒーでも飲む？
まあ、動かないでください、コロロ。あなたの食感はゲームプレイ中のクッション材に最適なのです。
Don't use that poor baby for no daggone Switch stand. There are Switch stands that are for sale. Well, whatever. As long as Kororo don't mind, then I don't mind. And also, Mizir looks on at the scene while Il plays the game with Kororo as the table, which I disapprove of.
なんでここに GPM の変態がいんだよ。
よくぞ聞いてくれたね、イグニス君。それはもちろんここにあるゲートの調査だとも。何かとうるさいリンドウが出張中の今がまさに千載一遇のチャンス。今なら奴に止められることなく存分に調査を。
あれ、さっきはカリアの定期検査がどうこうって言ってなかった？
確実に言っていました。検査に来ないから呼びに来たと。はっ、しまった、そうだ、そういう建前だった。ついつい本音が先に出てしまった。
なんとも間抜けな自白だな。
Wait, Katia, you haven't been going in for your checkups. Oh no, no baby. You just gave him an in to come intrude the cafe. Katia looks away from me with guilt. Katia's fairy ancestry and the ancestral relapse had weakened his body a lot. He was told that he needed to visit Media regularly, and that he also was, to have physical checkups at the GPM.
いや、この店に来てるおかげで最近は調子いいし。
No excuse. No excuse.
この変人とか GPM とかこの変人とかリンドウさん以外はまだいまいち信用できないし。
Ooh, excuse me. I know what you mean, but this isn't right. You have to get your checkups.
クーちゃん、あの子、さらっとひどいことを言っている気がしないかね。
If you're really worried, I'll go with you.
いや、そんなの別にいいし、子供じゃないんだから付き添いとかいらないよ。
Everyone continued to watch over us with kind eyes as Katia shook his head as I was questioning him.
なんかお姉さんと弟って感じだね。
ま、アンシャンテの常連はあいつより全員年上だしな。年下ってのは新鮮なんだろ。
After pushing the point that he needed his checkups, I turned to face Mikado. Oh, that's right. Mr. Mikado.
何かね。はっ、もしやゲートに頬ずりしてもいいのかい？
Yeah, out of context. Boy, that sounds wrong. No. You said Mr. Rindo was on business, yes? He hasn't been to the cafe recently. Where is he right now?
そういえばここ4日間彼の姿を見かけていませんね。あれ、リンドウのことだから 君たちには伝えているものだとばかり。まあいいか。リンドはね、今上からの命令でとある無人島の調査をしているよ。けど現在進行形で襲われているらしくてね。確か救援要請が出てたと思うよ。
What? Attacked? What's happening? Who's attacking him? I mean, is he okay?
いや、僕も詳しくは知らないけどね。まあ、リンドだし、生きてるよ、多分。そんなことより、そこにいる首なし騎士君、ぜひ君の体を調査させてくれたまえ。
More importantly, Mr. Mikado, please tell me more about...
打天使君も興味深いな。打天するというメカニズムには大変に興味があるからね。
Oh, is this why you put the hurt on him, Katone? Mr. Mikado!
そしてとっておきは魔王。素晴らしきかな、アンシャンテ。このレア人外のフルコースには僕も研究者として目移りしてしまう。
In a firm grip, I grabbed his head, which was a bit lower than me.
何をするのかね。僕は人間になど興味は。
Yeah, this is where she puts the hurt on him. I twist his... Oh god, he doesn't even have a neck. He has a... Well, it's still neck, but... Oh my god, he has a K in it. Hard enough to start making some crunching sounds. And after forcing him to face my direction, I smile at him gently. You, stop. Listen to me closely. What happened to Mr. Rindo?
はい、喜んで説明させていただきます。
Yes, Katone, get him to shut up. Amasaki Island. An uninhabited island that's not too far off the coast in the northeast. The GPM started researching the island about a month ago. There have been whispers among the locals about how strange things for ages now. About how strange things for ages now? I think they might have left out a word, whatever. Apparently, in the past, a Type 1 species of non-humans, the Kurei, had inhabited Amasaki Island. Recently, another species of non-humans showed up and now dominated the island. Although they knew of the Kurei, GPM HQ had yet to confirm this new species, so they sent out a team to investigate. However, the Spartoi, the name given to this new species, didn't seem capable of speech, and those around them ended up being attacked by them. As a result, the local branch determined that the Spartoi, designated a Type 3 species, could not be dealt with. Google, shut up. They made contact with let me read that again. They made contact with Shinjuku HQ, who sent in a seasoned team as reinforcements, but
その調査チームにリンドウも含まれていたというわけか。そして現在スパルトイとやらに襲われ、まともに連絡がつかないと。
Some time passed after Mr. Mikado gave his explanation of the situation, and he left. A short silence fell inside the cafe, which was covered in shadows from the setting sun.
試しにスマホへと連絡を飛ばしましたが、反応はありませんね。
ねえ、それってつまりリンドウさんがピンチってこと？
Yeah, I think so.
じゃあ助けなきゃまずくない？
あ？あいつなら心配ねえって。そう簡単に死ぬ玉じゃねえよ。どうせそのうちひょっこり顔出して、いやー死ぬかと思ったよとか、そんな感じで済ませんだろ。
そりゃそうかもしれないけど。
Oh, sorry, I might replay that because I was drinking in the middle of him saying that. Hold on.
どうせそのうちひょっこり顔出して、いやー死ぬかと思ったよとか、そんな感じで済ませんだろ。
そりゃそうかもしれないけど。
どうしたの？リンドウが心配？
Of course I am. There's something else I'm worried about. Mr. Mikado mentioned Amasaki Island, and I think it's near where my family lives.
実感？もしや宣告、商店街でテレビに映っていた島か？
Yeah, it's an island all the locals know about. It's close enough that you can see it through the window on a sunny day. They were, in a sense, a hop and a skip away. In other words, in a place very close to my family, where they could be easily reached. Was where these dangerous Spartoi, a non-human species dangerous to humankind, resided. A chill runs down my spine as I imagine what terrible things could happen. Shit. I'm pretty sure Measier's gonna say something to me either way, but I'm like, I guess this one. I...
ダメ。
No. I haven't said anything yet.
実家もリンドウも心配だから様子を見に行きたいって話でしょ。危ないからダメ。まあこれまで気楽に異世界へ連れて行った俺たちが言えることでもないけど、人間界では逆に俺たちも好きにできないからね。いざという時、君のことを守りにくくなったら困るし。
Well, I guess, but I just wanted to see what the situation was, and if everything was alright. The one who had my back was...
それじゃ、こういうのはどうかな。君を連れてくのは反対だけどさ、代わりに俺とイルが様子を見に行くとか。
Really?
まあリンドウがどうこうって心配はそんなにしてないけどさ、君が気になるなら仕方ないかな。
私も同行するのですか？戦力的にはミシェルだけで十分かと思いますが。
人探しはイルに任せたいってこと。いいからリンドウごと島を吹っ飛ばせって言うなら話は別だけどね。
Of course, that would not be okay.
幸い新作のゲームも発売日前ですし、 協力するのにやぶさかではありません。
Ooh, bitch, tell me about it. Yes, I'm waiting. There's like 3 games, I think, already this year that are coming out, so I'm really looking forward to those.
発売日後だったら協力しなかったのか、てめえは。となると、我とイグニスは留守番か。我も空を飛ぶことができればな。
その分俺たちが頑張ってくるよ。どうにも救出意欲の湧かないお姫様だけどね。
Mizir puts his hand on my shoulder, reassuring me that it'd be okay. Feeling the gentle warmth from his hand, I sigh in relief.
あ、琴音の実家が近いなら、ついでに親御さんへ挨拶とか。日頃からお世話になってます。的な。だとしたら駅前でいい感じの東京土産を買っていかないと。
Forget the gift and the greeting. Just go and keep Mr. Rendo your top priority, okay? Petty King.
Ah, よくばゲートを調べられたらとかちょっと期待したんだけどな。さすがにガードが硬かったか。残念だったね、グーちゃん。
After returning from Enchante, mumbling to himself while petting his quote-unquote doll, Mikado glances in front of him, excuse me. Oh, child. What stood there was a single man wearing a hood, his presence obscured otherwise. He softly raises his hand at Mikado.
やあやあ、ジョシュ君じゃないか。
Child, the only thing little is you.
珍しく長期の有給を取っていたけど、有意義な休みは過ごせたかな。
皇帝だ。
そう、ならよかった。それにしても、どうしてここに？今回は僕、君に迎えを頼んでないよ。まただんまりか。相変わらず何を考えてるかわからないというか。まあ、君の立場からして、どうせ彼関連なんだろうけど。
Interesting. So yeah, Mikado knew about this fuck shit, and I'm like, well, he has to be uncomfortable being under all that crap. I will say that.
どうして君はやけに彼にこだわるのかな。いい加減関係を教えてくれない？
Of course, you know, it's the game being vague AF, and you gotta wonder, like, what the fuck? Just say his name. But then, you know, that would have took the surprise element out, I suppose.
拒否する。私は相応の働きを持ってお前に対価を払っている。それ以上の情報を要求、あるいは強制するというのであれば。
おっと、わかったよ。そんな怖い顔しないでおくれ。こっちも君にやめられたら困るし、事情に深く突っ込むつもりはないさ。
The man kept his hood unfastened after that. As he followed Mikado, who shrugged at him, in the darkness of that hood were eyes filled with cold fire. gazing toward Enchante. Ooh, we know why, y'all. We know the fuck why. Right, okay. You be careful too, Mom. It's dangerous out there. Don't go out to the beach to take pictures or anything, okay? Okay, I'm gonna do it anyway. Just kidding. Okay, I'll call you again soon. Phew. It was 6 o'clock in the evening. I'd closed the cafe a bit early today. After going back to my room, I tried calling home. Sure enough, it seemed like the sky was looking as strange as it did on the news. It wasn't as bad around the town itself. The fog only rested above Amasaki Island. Coast Guard boats gathered all around the island I put in all for some odd reason. Coast Guard boats gathered around the island too, making for a pretty tense scene. With Mizir and Il going there, it should be okay now, right? I imagine they were still on their way. I looked at my phone, but I hadn't received any messages from them yet. I just hope nothing's wrong. After giving a small sigh, I put my phone in sleep mode. Or at least I was about to. With noisy static, an eerie sound rung through my ears. What? But this sound, I felt like I heard it before. That's right. It was when I went through the gate for the first time. Huh? What the fuck is that thing saying? It's calling me. My phone slips from my hand and bounces after hitting the floor. Ooh, I wish you had a phone case or some shit for that. Not caring about it at all, I walk forward in a daze. That's really annoying. A white fog appeared, obscuring my mind. I kept thinking about my body feeling weird. I kept trying to think of anything at all. This voice was creeping into my mind, scattering my thoughts. The fuck? I nod, beckoned by the voice. Yes, I need to open the gate. This is a cafe after all. If there's a guest who wants to come, then I have to open it. Oh my god. Will you make up your mind what you want, stupid voice? The instant I turn over the plate, the gate burst open from the other side. The moment I came to, the winds from a world I didn't know encompassed me. Just like my first time, just like my first time in Medio, I felt like I was floating, like gravity didn't exist. However, more clearly than that time, I felt a strange power that was pulling me. I was being swallowed in, thrust with fear. I didn't have time to think of anything. Drowning in the air of this alternate world, I desperately try and bat away this thing clinging onto me. And then, with the sensation of my body being flung, There was the sound of the gate closing.
Oi, こら、ことね。さっきからバタバタうるせえんだよ。何やってんだ、てめえは。
何やらドアベルも鳴っていたようだが、今の音は一体。ことね。
は？あいつどこ行った？
I can hear someone calling me. I know I'm hearing it for the first time, but I felt like I heard it somewhere before. This is repeating. It should be. It's kind of gentle, but there are traces of sorrow. Yes, a voice like someone I know very well. I don't remember all this. Mesier? As if surprised by my murmuring, the voice suddenly stops. And then... Nah, this repeats, probably. What I heard instead was... What if I'm dead, you little imp? A very jarring voice.
どうやらスパルトイではないみたいでありますな。
このものは見た目からしておそらく人間であります。
いや、まだ油断はならないであります。こう見えて起きたら口から火を吐くかもしれないであります。
Following the commotion of whispers, something cold pokes my cheek. The sensation shook me awake and I managed to open my eyes. Where am... I slowly lift my body, and the grains of sand, excuse me, I said stand, and the grains of sand stuck to my cheek fall off. What was reflecting in the hollow moonlight were the waves of the sandy shore. And...
よかった。目が覚めたでありますな。
What was staring at me were these things that looked like small earthenware. Yes, small earthenware. Earthenware. We've seen that word before. What? Haniwa?
我らは埴輪ではないであります。
Oh, sorry? I apologize in reflex, but they were clearly Haniwa. How the fuck are they going to tell me otherwise? They didn't seem to like that, though, as they all began jumping around in protest at the sound of that. Okay, my bad. Damn. Now that I got used to the strange scene, I was certain. These little things, they were also non-humans. Well, although that's important too. Where is this? Why am I near the ocean? As I began to speak. My face turned blue from that memory. That's right. For some reason, I opened the gate up on my own. In a panic, I look around, but there wasn't anything around that looked like a gate. In my confusion, the Haniwa pulled at the sleeves of my clothes and answered me.
さっきの質問、ここがどこかという話でありますが、ここは島であります。
ああ、人間たちは天崎島と呼んでいるでありますよ。
Mm-hmm. Of course we're here. Amasaki. What? In shock, I stand up. Once more, I carefully look around at my surroundings. Although the moonlight graced the shores, I could only see so much around me. Still, the distant mountains in the darkness, the lights of the boats off the shore, it somehow felt nostalgic. All those things were trying to appeal to my memories, urging me to believe a single fact. So this place is Amasaki Island, near my hometown? As I mumbled to myself in shock, the little Haniwas seemed to have agreed amongst themselves what to do next.
ひとまずこの人間に危険もないと分かった以上は森に向かうのが先決であります。
Huh? Why? Why would we go into the forest on purpose?
この通り、浜辺は見通しが利くので、むしろ危険なのであります。
Dangerous.
スパルトイのやつらがうろついているのであります。見つかったら即殺されるのであります。
Spar toy? I recognize that word. In fact, I heard it just this evening. Amasaki Island, and now the Spar toy. What those two words put together meant was...
さあ移動するであります。詳しい話は後ほど。今はただ我らに続いてほしいのであります。
Huh? Okay. Trusting both my instincts and the harmless creatures, I decide to follow them.
それにしても我らの存在に驚かぬのでありますな。大抵はそこの説明もろもろに時間を食うのでありますが。
Oh, well, it's kind of work related. I have a bit of understanding, knowledge about non-humans.
おお、そういうことならば話は早いであります。
Oh, whoops, wrong button.
我らはまさにその人の言う人外、空霊族と呼ばれている種であります。
Kure. That's the name of the species Mikado mentioned. All of the bad feelings I had about the situation were now just proven true. This place, without a doubt, was what Mikado was talking about. An area currently deemed a danger zone. That Amasaki Island. How did I get here? I wished it was a dream, but considering what I've been through in the past, now that I grasp this terrible situation, I almost planted my face into my palms. But then I saw a figure in the woods. Oh shit. Could that be one of the GPM members that came to the island? Yes, girl. He just really skinty. Skinny legend. Yes, God. Right now, I'd be grateful to find anyone who was a fellow human. The moment I took a step forward to call out to them, suddenly my hand was pulled back from behind me and my mouth was covered.
君がおとなしくしてくれれば危害を加えたりしないよ。ただ向こうのやつに気取られないよう静かにしてほしいんだ。いいね。
Obeying the voice I recognized, I look again toward the spot I was just looking at. Under the faint moonlight, the figures began revealing themselves little by little. What was there was not a person like I'd originally thought. I'm so gasped out. Those hollowed eye sockets, which I could see even from here, sent chills down my body. It was a skeleton. There was no other way to describe it. But there was no way a skeleton be walking around by itself. A skeleton be walking. Okay. It had completely lost all of its human flesh, making gnashing sounds as it walked. It seemed like it was looking for something. It leaves, wandering off to prowl elsewhere. Excuse me.
言ったか。突然悪かったね。それじゃ手を離すから、まだできるだけ静かにね。
ああ。
やれやれ。それで、君は地元の子かい？なんだってこんな時期にこの島に。
I knew it. It is you, or it's you, Mr. Rindo.
琴音ちゃん？本物だよね。どうして君がここに？
リンド、この方は浜辺で一人倒れていたのでありますよ。
現状、この天崎島はスパルトイだらけ。あのままでは危険と判断し、林道の元へ連れてきたのであります。
いや、それはナイス判断だと思うけど、待って、ちょっと待って。まさか君、一人でここに？ミシェルたちは
？Well, you see, I have to say I don't really know what happened myself. However, there wasn't time to sit idly and explain what I wasn't exactly sure of. A presence was rustling through the grass. Startled, I turned around to find... Come on, boys. Oh, fuck. Not those boys, damn it. Several of the skeletons from earlier were treading this way, closing in on us. Mr. Rindo readied his gun. Okay, they're here. A godly pillar of light descended on us. Hang on! I grabbed the Q-ray that were about be blown. What the fuck? Y'all left that alone. Were about to be blown away from the blast of air. After the air shook through the trees, what was left was bones that turned to dust from the light. The remains of the Spartoid.
おじさん救出戦隊魔王&天使到着ってね。
Following the voices, Mr. Rindo on the ground protecting me wiped the sand off him and stood up.
助けてくれてどうもありがとう。ただできればもう少し優しくしてほしかったよ。ミシェルにいる？
安全面は十分考慮していましたよ。林道が反応できず巻き込まれる可能性は 11%、致命傷となる確率は 7.5% 程度でした。
結構無視できない確率じゃないかな、それ。
そこはほら、俺たちの信頼っていうかさ、リンドウならまあ大丈夫かなって。
それは熱い信頼で涙が出るよ。というか、なんで彼女までここにいるんだい。助けに来てくれたのはありがたいけど、そこは君たちがちゃんと止めるべきで。
As he spoke, he reveals me curled up in a little ball to Mizir and Ill, but they're like, what the fuck? How'd you get here? Of course, just like with Mr. Rindo, they were frozen at the sight of me.
なんで彼女がここに
Yeah, why am I here?
あれ、君たちが連れてきたんじゃ。僕はてっきり君たちと一緒に来た後にはぐれたと思ってたんだけど。
いやいや、違うって。仮に連れてきたとしてもはぐれるような真似はしないよ。
私もミシェルと同意見です。
Scratching his head, understanding the situation, Mr. Rindo looks at me, wanting to say something. Even if you look at me like that, it's not like I can explain what's going on myself.
ともかく一旦ここを移動しよう。ベースキャンプとまでは言わないけど、少しはまともな場所を確保してある。現状の把握や彼女の状況は全部そこで話し合おうか。
Everyone nods at Mr. Rindo's suggestion, and we all started walking. But with just 2-3 steps, our movement comes to a halt. The reason being, Spartoy! Oh, maybe not. Huh? What? The ground suddenly started shaking, and we couldn't take a step further.
違いますね。へえ、揺れてるのはこの空間一体そのものか。
Mizir seemed to be in awe Mizir seemed to be in awe, as if to support his observation.
一つ説明の手間が省けたね。みんな上を見てくれるかな。
I'm about to say Mizir. Mr. Rindo pointed to the sky. The tainted sky covering Amasaki Island. It tore apart. I had no other way to describe it. A myriad of lightning-shaped cracks spread across the sky instantly. What is that? If this were another alternate world like Medio or Bestia, I would have accepted what was happening here as another strange phenomenon of one of those fantastical places. But this is where I lived. It wasn't another world, but my simple, mundane, normal, regular human world. But I was about to ask why was this here. Mr. Rindo answers my question.
あれはホールだね。少なくとも GPM はそう認定した。
ホール。規模感で言えばこの島一つすら飲み込めそうな巨大さですね。
疑いたくなるのもわかるけどね。けど実際あれはこことは別の異世界に間違いなくつながってるんだ。その証拠にほら来るよ。
Mr. Rindo points at some of the cracks. One by one, objects rained down from it. They were white and eerie. Spartoy? There must have been 20 of them. They continued to fall across the island. When that finished, the shaking of the space around us that Mizir was talking about slowly crawled to a stop. The cracks in the sky closed too.
それじゃあ小休止かな。携帯食料くらいしかないけど、つまみたければご自由にどうぞ。
Thank you. I'll have some.
我々もありがたくいただくであります。
へえ、埴輪くんたちもご飯を食べたりするんだ。
もちろんであります。普段はトカゲやクワガタ、粘土あたりが主食でありますが。
Beetles? Huh? While the eerie darkness still covered us, taking a rest in a cave that Mr. Rindo had led us to was sorted through the information we had so far. Mr. Rindo's original mission was to come and investigate the wormhole in the sky and capture or eliminate the Spartoy, but attacked by several Spartoy, most of the team sustained heavy injuries and were now standing by on boats off the shore. Alone, Mr. Rindo found and protected the Kure, who were scattered across the island, all while investigating the wormhole. Alone? That's too much.
変に優秀だとね、いろいろとそんな役回りも回ってくるもんさ。けど、君が心配してくれて嬉しいよ。それに、がむしゃらに駆け回ったおかげで、ある程度のクーレイ族は保護できてる。
Smiling, Mr. Rindo points behind him. There were more Kure cheering excitedly about how safe they felt now that they were in his protection.
リンドウがいなければ我々は今頃土くれになっていたかもであります。
感謝感激、雨あられなのであります。
Aww. The the Kure crowd Mr. Rindo in a clamor. Even though the sight did help relax me, I knew we weren't out of the woods yet. So what are those non-human Spartoy?
未だ調査中だよ。周囲に攻撃的なことだけはもうはっきりしてるけどね。分かってるのはあの巨大なホールから不定期に落ちてくる厄介な存在、その程度かな。
そのホールですが、私たちの知るものとはだいぶ毛色が違いますね。
How do you mean?
まずは当然のごとく大きさが違います。島一つを飲み込むようなホールなど聞いたことがありませんし。そして何より現状のスパルトイの発生源とその発生期間を振り返る限り、あのホールはこれまでに何度も開いていることになります。
Oh, right. Normally, once a wormhole closes...
そう。それっきり再び開くことはない。そのはずなんだけど。
今回は定期的に開閉しており、その度スパルトイが落ちてくる。不可解なこともあるものですね。
本当だよ。 今回のは規模も内容も桁違いで GPM としてもてんやわんやだよ。
And then, Mizir, deep in thought, raised his hand, calling to Master Rindo. See, I did that mistake. I made that mistake.
ねえリンド、あのホールの先につながっている世界について何か分かってる？
それもさっぱり。少なくとも GPM の把握している世界でないことは確かだね。
しかし、あのスパルトイとやらを見る限り、少なくとも安全な世界ではなさそうですね。
The demon and the angel, leaving the two of them to think. Mr. Rindo continues, now casting the spotlight onto me.
さて、とりあえずこっちの説明は終わった。次は君の番だよ、乙女ちゃん。
Yes.
君は一体どうやってここに？常連人外図の助けも借りずに。
About that, I'm not really sure. In any case, I can tell you what I remember in the order that it happened. I explained all the details without hiding anything, and everyone's face grew dark as they fell deeper into their thoughts.
誰かに呼ばれた。
Yes.
君は以前、メディオに行く際も同じような事故に遭っているし。
確かあの時も声みたいなものが聞こえたって、そんな風に言ってたよね。
Yeah.
どうも誰かの意図みたいなものを感じるね。君たち以外の世界の人外の仕業とか。
かもしれない。でも今は警戒するくらいしかできないのが歯がゆいところだね。
Yeah. Yeah, you said this already. Hearing how it could be someone intentionally doing this to me made it feel so scary. I gotta make sure I'm not in that room alone at night anymore. Something tells me you're gonna be in that room again. Just saying.
ひとまず店には連絡しました。念のためゲートを閉じてからカヌスとイグニスの両名がこちらへ向かうそうです。あの二人も突然あなたが消えたということで大層慌てている様子でしたよ。
Ill, who managed to somehow have enough reception to make a call from this distant island, smiles at me. He had the reception of convenience. Okay, thanks, Ill. I made them worry too, huh?
結局原因は分からずじまい。とはいえ、君をこのまま島に残すわけにもいかないよね。
Oh, right. The Spartoy are here after all.
だからミシェルにいる。この子をアンシャンテまで連れて帰ってくれないかな。
Why?
それは構いませんが。
リンドはまだ残っていくつもりなの？
できれば僕も帰ってアンシャンテのコーヒーを飲みたいんだけどね。人外の保護を掲げる GPM としては可能な限り空雷族を保護しておく必要があるんだよ。とはいえもちろん危なくなったら自己判断で切り上げるほかないわけだけど。
That's what Mr. Rindo says. But he'll be running all across the island trying to escape those terrifying Spartoi all by himself. I'm just so worried. Duh. Mizir, ill. Could you two help gathering the Kure?
私は構いませんが、あなたはどうするのですか?
My family's place is nearby. I can wait for everyone there. I actually wanted to help here, but I know I'd only get in the way. Considering that, the best decision would be to ask the two for help. However, Mizir raised an objection.
俺は反対かな。
Huh? How come? Like Mr. Rindo said, it's dangerous here. I'd just get in the way if I stayed.
ああ、いや、リンドや君の判断がおかしいとも思わないよ。ただ、今回はたまたま同じ人間界に落ちて、すぐ合流できたからよかったけど、何かが起きて、君を助けに行けないような状況になってしまったら、俺は死んでも死にきれないくらい後悔する。
Yeah, I feel like we're gonna get gut punched again, because each route has their own like, jab you with the feels stick or something, and I wouldn't be surprised if Mizir was no different. Mizir.
だから無茶は承知の上なんだけど、どうか俺に君を守らせてくれないかな。
Okay. Honestly, between the Spartoi and the wormhole, this place was now an area filled only with danger to me. But I give a small nod to Mizir, who was looking at me so gravely. Okay, please protect me.
ありがとう。しっかり守らせてもらうよ。
というわけでして、リンド、以上の理由から我々も滞在を延長するほかありません。故に時間を有効活用するためにも空霊族の保護お手伝いしましょう。
分かった。君たちの言うことも一理あるし、ひとまず琴音ちゃんのことは任せるよ。僕はすでに今保護している空霊族を会場の部下たちに預けてくるからさ。琴音ちゃん、重ね重ねになるけど気をつけて。
Yes, I'll be sure not to do anything dangerous.
皆様、同胞たちのためにありがたいであります。
どうかよろしくお願いするであります。
We saw Mr. Rindo and the others off, then quickly moved into action, talking to the Kure that had been left behind to help us navigate the area.
さてと、この微妙に広い島の中で隠れちゃった空霊族を保護ね。
Excuse me. So, do you have any idea where they might be?
本来の集落は島の中心に位置しているのでありますが、
Again, I wish we took Curé C, because at least his voice isn't that grating on the eardrums as Curé A. But that's me trying not to be like a bitch, but oh, y'all. But the Curé are sweethearts no matter what, but it's just that I don't want to be listening to this one in particular.
襲撃で皆チリチリになったので、おそらくは岩の隙間や獣の掘った穴に身を潜めているはずであります。
So essentially, they'll be keeping quiet and still somewhere close to the ground. Is that right?
そうであります。びくりともしないのであります。
Yeah. It seemed really proud about that fact, but isn't this a bad thing? And as I expected, it wore a concerned look.
大規模の探知を行ったとしても、その状態では発見できませんね。音と温度、どちらを用いても無理です。
Yeah, that would suck.
彼らには体温がありませんし、おそらく天然の岩や鉱石と区別がつかないでしょう。
まさに土器そのものって感じだよね。どうしたものかな。
Bits of earth buried within the earth. I think I remember, back when I was in grade school, there was some news about valuable ancient earthenware found on this island. It's as if I've learned the truth to the legends behind that. Ultimately, we decided to just go around and look for them normally for now, while thinking of other ways to search for them. Along with the Curé carried in my arms, we walked off together in the woods. During this time, though he said nothing might come of it, he flew across the sky further away from us and periodically casting search magic. Still, this island is really big, isn't it?
ひょっとして琴音殿は以前この島に来られたことが？
Oh, yeah. I grew up I used to come here with friends when I was a kid. Coming here and exploring the island was what all the kids did back then. We'd come by boat with everyone. It's probably not the time to think about it, but that was all so nostalgic.
君って結構アクティブな子供だったんだね。
Not really, but I did like going out to explore and look at all sorts of things. Okay. Now that I think of it, that must have been Grandpa's influence too. Narrowing my eyes, immersed in my memories, I turned the conversation over to Mizir. What about you, Mizir? What kind of kid were you? You said in the past that you were noble.
どうだったかな。数千年単位での昔だからあんまりよく覚えてないんだけど、でも普通の子供だったと思うよ。多分幸せだったと思う。
It felt a bit strange to me that he spoke as if he wasn't talking about himself. I really haven't had a lot of opportunities with Mizir to talk to him about what his past was like. Mizir.
ごめん。ちょっと待って。
Mizir puts his index finger to his lips and glances to his left and right. Of course. Ruining our date night. What the fuck? 2 on the right and 2 on the left. Shit, I don't know what rhymes with left. Cleft. The spider we saw amongst the trees.
はい、さよならと。
with just the snap of Mizir's fingers, with only that, they all turn to dust.
いやいや、反則にも程があるでありますよ。指を鳴らしただけで即粉砕とか。
I'm not sure you could tell, but he's actually a demon lord.
これくらいはさすがにね。
After this one-sided fight was over,
ああ、やはり無事でしたか。前方に20体ほどの集団がいたので、そちらを優先しましたが。
イル、おかえり。対処してくれてありがとう。空霊族の方はどう？
どうにも。やはり生物というよりか、無機物に近い彼らを探すのはかなり骨が折れますね。
あまままま、同胞というか自分たちのせいでお手数をおかけするであります。
let's just keep up our search. Lizzie, let's just keep up our search. Mr. Rendo said we still had some time. I'm stuttering along with you, Katone. Goddamn. Nodding in agreement, Mizir brushes through the grass where the Spartoi were earlier. Mizir, is something wrong?
いや、ちょっとね。さっきやり合った時妙な感じがして。
Excuse me. He kneels down and stares at the remains, that ash-like material. As he spoke, Mizir picks up remains of the pulverized Spartoi in his hand. Right as I was about to ask that weird feeling he felt, as if to stop me, or maybe even to answer me, a dense sound, as if the air was creaking, could be heard across the entire island.
あれはまた来るでありますよ。
It was just as before. The sky groaned as several fissures began to run through it. It was as if the blood oozing from a wound. Ugh, please don't describe it like that. I could clearly see Spartoi one after the other raining down on the island.
スパルトイ自体は我々にとって脅威ではありませんが、空霊族にとっては敵の数が増えていく現状はあまりよろしくないでしょうね。
Yeah. As time goes on, the Kure survival rate and even the danger toward me increases. As I was about to ask what we should do,
Michel?
I noticed something was strange about him.
ことね、いる。二人ともちょっと俺の後ろに下がって。あれは放置すべきじゃないものだ。
There was unusual tension in Mizir's voice. Before I can ask what was wrong, Rosen appeared. Il suddenly grabs me in his arms and jumps back in retreat. And right after he spins around and spreads his wings in an effort to protect me, from behind him, faster than the blink of an eye, a wave of heat enough to burn pushed against us in a rush of light and harsh wind. A loud roar, scorching heat, blinding light. The sound, the heat, the light. A thick streak of purple lightning casts its hue onto the world, eating into the cracks into the sky. Eating into the cracks in the sky, excuse me, y'all. What the hell? he did that. Mizir did that, right? Because this is a big issue in this chapter. It all happened so suddenly. It took a few dozen seconds to realize it was all something cast from Mizir. And that didn't phase it. Still blinded by the flashes in my eyes and a ringing still in my ears, I looked back with Il, who had protected me, toward Mizir and approached him. He was completely different than usual and had a strange aura of quiet and coldness around him, enough to make me freeze. Mizir? Cautiously, I call out to him. His shoulders pricked in surprise, and in a fluster, Mizir turns back toward us.
ごめんね、ことね。空間の亀裂、思ってたより良くないやつっぽくて。とにかくなくさなくちゃって、空間をずらしてでも消し飛ばすって感じでぶっ放したんだけどね。
それにしても、今のは危険かと。私はともかく他の者たちの耐久度を計算した上での攻撃でしたか？
Yike.
自分は死んだと思いました。であります。
本当にごめん。
Mizir's face revealed an anguish I'd never seen before. Yeah, that situation was a bit dangerous now that they mentioned it, but... No, it's okay, Mizir. Look, I'm totally fine. Fuck that Kure. I'm just kidding. Il protected me, and I'm sure we could do something about the cracks in the sky. Right as I was about to finish my sentence, as if to deny my assertion. Bony hand. Or arm, whatever. Corey got a bone hand. A giant one of them appeared. Real talk, it do look like some kind of rock, whatchamacallit, heavy metal, death metal cover. What appeared from the shattered sky was an arm? A frightening looking arm made up of bones, just like the Spartoid. I couldn't really tell from this far, and I wondered how giant that thing in the sky was. Il's warning caused me to brace myself, and then the giant fist of bone. That is such an awesome rock band title. If anyone comes out with they're trying to come up with a band name, try Giant Fist of Bone. Oh man, that's a household name waiting to be taken. The giant fist of bone charged right at us with incredible speed. The palm looked like a dot moments ago, but now is large enough to fill my view. Child, what the fuck? Everything happened in slow motion. My body, immobilized, stood there, staring. Warning? Mizir and Il, who quickly got in front of me, stopped the overwhelming fist right in front of us by using their magic. Mizir! Il! With a crushing sound, the fist of bone met the two who would clash against it. I never thought I'd see these two would ever have to struggle against anything. Their Gary Stunis is not working? Who would have thought? I mean, we'd have been through this, y'all, but whatever. witnessing this wild scene before me. What the hell? Another giant arm of blown, what the fuck? Another giant arm of bone flung itself up, readying itself to smash down upon us. That is Canis and Ignis, but let me see. What is that? That's just the impact of the... Because that don't look like a bony hand. What came flying in front of... What came flying in from beside us? A slash of darkness. A fist engulfed in flames. Sent the encroaching bony arm flying.
イル、こちらはお任せを。
After the attack of the unexpected helpers came a barrage of darkened light. The terrifying bony arm then started to crumble as if melting back up into the sky. Without a sound, it went back to wherever it came from, using the cracks along the sky.
いざ駆けつけてみれば際どいところだったな。さすがに焦ったぞ。
なんかてめえらに手出してたし、とりあえずぶっ飛ばしたけどよ。何だったんだ今のやつ。
My relief and cheers of joy spilled forward to our reinforcements that came crashing in.
遅くなってすまない。これでも急いで来たのだが。
No, you really did save us. But how did you two get here? They didn't take the bullet train, did they? As I worried.
あ？どうやってって、それ走ってきたに決まってんだろ。
I guess, sure, you ran here along the shore, but we're on an island. How did you get here?
だから走ってきたんだよ、海面を。
ちなみに、我は海底を走ってきた。デュラハンは泳げぬからな。
I knew I should take them seriously, but the way they skirt around these insane facts really just, the way of these Enchante men.
ともかく、無事なのは何よりだが、我らは来たばかりで状況がつかめぬ。なので、ひとまず話してもらおう。この島で何が起きているかを。
Right when the swaying of the trees began to settle from the blast of wind created by Mizir's attack earlier, noticing the fight with that giant bone arm, Mr. Rindo regrouped with us as well. For the first time in days, the regulars of Enchante were gathered together.
つまり、あの天を裂いて出た巨大な腕は正体が不明な存在ということか。
あのホールの先の世界もまた GPM も預かり知らぬ世界のようです。
That giant arm that appeared after the spar toy. We didn't know what in the world it was, but the regulars were able to keep it at bay for the time being. They almost certainly expected that it would appear again.
手応えがまるでなかったからな。一時的に逃げただけだろうな、ありゃ。
A size big enough to tear the heavens apart. It was so extraordinary. The moment I saw it, all I could do was freeze on the spot. But honestly, I really didn't want to think about it attacking again. I glance over at Mizir next to me.
And sure enough, he was deep in thought. He looked at the ground, pensive as ever.
それでリンド、ここへ移動してから話すとのことだったが、悪い知らせとは何のことだ？
ああ、実はね。
Huh? For an instant, Mr. Rindo looked at me and the curé in my arms.
スパルトイの像か。それにさっき君たちを襲った正体不明の巨大な腕、その直後に起きた地表からの砲撃、それらの状況の危険性を上層部が重く見てね。ホールおよびこの島そのものを人類の脅威とみなし、殲滅の指令が下ったんだ。
殲滅とは？
言葉通りだろう。島ごと滅ぼせという。
The curé holds its breath at Canis, who was speaking for Mr. Rindo.
中でもスパルトイの数が増えていることに懸念を示していてね。いずれ島から人里に押し寄せるかもって。だからこの島に留まっているうちに島ごとを一気に殲滅しようと考えたみたいだ。わざわざ国会を通じて航空と海上両方の自衛隊出動の要請までかけてね。
つってもよ、島ごとぶっ飛ばしても聞いた感じじゃ空の割れ目から骸骨とも降ってくんだろ。根本的な解決になってなくねえか、それ。
それはお偉いさん方も理解してるさ。ただそういう決定が出た以上、現場はもう動いてる。本当なら艦隊の出撃なんてもっと時間がかかるんだけど、運悪くちょうど近くを運航してた艦があるらしくてね。
どこまでも間が悪いな。呪われてんじゃねえか、この島。
というよりもその原因の一つであるとんでもない砲撃って。
すみません、俺です。
Mizir honestly confesses, listlessly raising his hand.
だろうな。
Canis and Ignis sigh together in sync.
まあ君なりにあのホールを解決しようとしたっていうのはなんとなくわかるけどね。
ごめん、やらかした本人として責任は取るつもりでいるよ。
そう。まあそれならこっちもこれ以上はぐちぐち言わないよ。ともかく僕が聞いた話だと、その総攻撃は1時間後、間違いなくこの島は焦土になる。僕にも保護を切り上げて避難しようって連絡が入ったよ。
そんな。
Clearly, the country should do everything it can to protect its people from harm. But it was clear that non-humans stood outside the bounds of these protections.
このまま残る同胞たちは見捨てるしかないのでありますか？
いや、そんなことはないよ。
With an unusually serious expression on him, Mizir gently pats the head of the curé.
さっきも言ったけどさ、 やらかした本人として責任は取るつもりだから。
そうは言いましても、具体的には何をするのです？この状況を打破するとなると、やはりあのホール自体を解決しなければならないかと。
Ill was completely right. Just like Ignis said, it didn't matter if the island was obliterated, if those cracks in the sky still exist. The issue of the overgrowing number of Spartoi and that gigantic, terrifying arm, neither of those would be resolved.
あの空に生じたホール、多分俺の力なら封じられると思うんだ。
Mizir made his offer after taking a breath. Everyone there stood wide-eyed at him.
それ、本当かい？
事実ならば願ってもないが。
一応ね、さっき俺自身の力をぶつけた結果、規模とか性質とかなんとなくつかめたから。ただちょっとした下準備が必要でさ、それにだいぶ時間がかかるんだ。だからその、なんていうか。
For some reason, Mizir had an apologetic look on his face.
それなりに大規模で難しい技だから、集中が乱れたりするとアウトでさ。スパルトイやあの腕への対抗、自衛隊やその関係者への牽制、やることはきっと多いし大変だと思う。
After explaining the particulars,
悪いね。原因の一端は俺なんだから、できればみんなに負担はかけず、個人で済ませたいとこなんだけど。もちろん強制はしないよ。俺一人でも気合で何とかして。
The others remained standing as Mizir covered his mouth after his awkward speech. Ignis flies into Mizir with a merciless kick.
ま、これもいい機会と。
Returning the favor. As Mizir was losing his balance, Mr. Rindo delivers a chop to the back of his head. Oh my god. And he picked himself up. Kanis came with a devastating flick, also to the head. With all these somewhat painful attacks, Mizir couldn't decide whether to cover the back or the front of his head. Ooh, he put some feeling into that. After curiously watching the steady string of attacks, Ill delivers a splendidly graceful and merciless slap to Mizir's cheeks, the ones above his waist. What?
見事な一撃であります。
Unable to stand any more damage, Mizir's body took a step back before crumbling backward. In his daze, Mizir finally put his hand over his reddened cheek where the loudest of all the attacks were made. The loudest sound of all the attacks was made.
何いきなりみんなして新手の魔王いじめ。
As Mizir laid there, teary-eyed, I smiled as I began to understand what everyone was trying to say. No, Mizir. Your logic, your apologies, and the need to take responsibility. I think they're saying they don't need to hear any of that, right? We're all friends here, so of course we'd help you. That's what they're trying to say.
そいつの言う通りだ。さっきから聞いてりゃ、いつものずうずうしさはどうしたよ。一人でだの、悪いけどだの、ゴニョゴニョゴニョゴニョ、うっぜえことこの上ね。
Mizir sat there surprised while Canis explained, sighing in amusement.
個人的な事情や各世界の事情ならばともかく、今回は共通の問題に直面しているのだ。こういう時は我らに素直に頼れ、ミシェル。お前はどうも万能ゆえの反動か、個人的なことを一人で抱えやすい傾向があるぞ。
首相な一面だね。後で報告書を更新しておこうかな。
ああ、なるほど。一連の攻撃はそういう意図で行われたものでしたか。
Ill, sweetheart. Ill, baby.
なんとなく皆に続いて真似してみましたが、間違った判断ではなかったようですね。
いや、なんとなくの割にはイルのビンタが一番強烈だったけど。
For a moment, he didn't seem very satisfied with this. Mizir, I'm certain everyone here feels the same way about all this. Not that I personally could do much to help. Everyone support me and leave it all to the all-powerful Demon Lord. That's the kind of boasting we expect from Mizir we know and care about. The Mizir we know and care about.
俺って普段そんな感じ？
Pretty much.
けど、そうだね。
Mizir's smile eventually peeks out, showing his gratitude to the others.
ありがとう。じゃあお言葉に甘えて頼むよみんな。君たちの助力があれば、あの程度のホール適当にちょいちょいっとなんとかなるさ。
That's the spirit. The same as usual, just a little different. His purpose was declared proudly. Let's get it, boys. We got a wormhole to close. Alright, y'all. Fun fact. I actually had to take a break really quick. I thought I was going to be able to finish this before I had to restream. Or I had to stream because for my giveaway, the first winner didn't contact me. So now I done streamed for the second, for the second winner. And if I don't hear from that person, then I'm gonna have to stream again tomorrow. Isn't that something? Yeah, Subby agrees, by the way. Alright, moving on. Off the shore, further out into the ocean, seen above the endless expanse of water. Ominous aircraft cutting through the skies. The bulk of the defense force scrambled for deployment, F-15J fighter jets. The fighters in their cockpits held their breath as they approached the target, gazing at the cracks running across the sky. They thought it absurd
absurd to receive an order to attack the sky above an island off the coast. Now facing the menacing sight before them, they were forced to stop laughing. They took their mission seriously now. However, the pilots, taken in by the abnormalities of the sky, were in for a bigger surprise. As they failed to notice the winged angel flying as fast as their jets were at the very speed of sound.
同型の戦闘機が6体、緊急招集だった影響か、まだ数は揃っていないようですね。とはいえ、一つ一つに挨拶をして引き返してもらうのはさすがに非効率ですし。
Il made a decision, not in seconds, but in an instant.
不時着していただきましょう。
The moment he makes his decision, Il flaps his wings, ascending into the heavens. Considering his target's speed, he'll have to cut out performing his usual calculations. Instead, inhaling deeply, his lungs fill with oxygen. With a special prayer, his voice sings toward the heavens. Even though they understood the urgency being scrambled, the pilots inside the fighter jets instantly forgot the danger that was right in front of them and were entranced by the singing voice that came out of nowhere. However, the objective of the fallen angel wasn't exactly to provide a free concert. Of course it's not. Suddenly, the fighter jets oh my god, Sasha, please read it properly. Suddenly, the fighter jets ill-viewed below him slowly started to descend. Observing this, Il applied some of his magic, allowing him to communicate with the pilots who were panicking at their plane's behavior.
皆さん、突然失礼します。あなたたちが搭乗している全戦闘機の操作機能すべてを私の方で掌握させていただきました。このまま海面へ着水させますので、念のために衝撃に備えていただけますか？もちろん安全面は保証いたしますので。
What? That's impossible. Girl, nothing's impossible in Otome land. The voices were heard amongst the pilots, one after another through their radios. Just as the fallen angel declared, the jets descended until they touched the water, no longer unbound by gravity. At the same time, right as the fighters touched down on the water one after another.
おうおう、箱入りの野郎、ずいぶん気張ってるじゃねえか。
Ignis murmurs, I'm about to say murders to himself, murmurs to himself along the shoreline as he squints up at the ominous-looking sky.
んじゃ、俺も行くとすっか。
With that, Ignis kicks off some sand. Oh my god, what's wrong with me? With that, Ignis kicks off some sand and starts to run. Kicking up clumps of wet sand, he cuts into the cold waves of the ocean. Without any hesitation, he didn't stop at the water's edge. He ran straight into it.
右足が沈む前に左足を前に。左足が沈む前に右足を前に。
Otome would be standing in amazement if she were here. He was actually running on water. Okay, Jesus. Little explosions blew under his feet before they touched down. He glares at the Navy ships. Oh, I see what you're doing.
でっけえ船がガン首揃えて。けど、悪いがここは通行止めだな。
With a shout, he swings his arm. A giant wall of flames, hundreds of meters tall and wide, erupted from him. It was a cage of fire. They were the prey. It surrounded two ships, making it impossible for them to move forward.
さーて、こいつでおとなしくしてくれりゃいいんだが。
It would be more of a problem if they tried to advance and just ended up sinking.
つっても人的被害がなければその辺は GPM に請求が行くだろうし、ま、そん時はそん時だな。
With a cocky laugh, Ignis raises his hand.
お疲れ様です。そちらもうまくいったようですね。
The fallen angel, who seemed to have accomplished his goal as well, grabbed Ignis's wrist, hoisting him up into the sky.
で、どうする？このまま空中で待機して、また新しい邪魔者が入ったら相手してくわ。
浜辺に戻る時間が惜しいですし、あちらはあちらで対処できるでしょう。ここはイグニスの提案通りで良いかと。ただ、イグニス、無事にアンシャンテへ戻ったら減量してみてはどうでしょう。再オープンの時よりも 2.4 キロほど体重が増加していますよ。
Bam, that is roughly a pound.
てめえはやっぱこういう時にも空気読まねえのな。つか太ってねっての、筋肉がついただけだっつうの。
Underneath the abnormal sky, amongst the rising wall of flames and fighter jets bobbing in the water, the two regulars from Enchante continue their normal everyday banter.
Yeah, 派手にやってるな。海に炎の壁ってねえ。
事情を知らなければ一体何の災害かと思ってしまうであります。
And Ill's power is what caused the planes to make an emergency landings?
どうであれあの二人のことだ。人死にを出すような失敗はしないであろう。
While Ill and Ignis were holding back the defense forces, in an open spot along the coast, while making detailed gestures with his hands covered in lights, he concentrates on drawing a complex magic circle on the beach. Drawing and layering it on, and drawing and layering and drawing and layering on some more. It looked like a complicated schematic. It was so detailed that it was so detailed that just looking at it started to make me feel confused.
さて、僕がどこまで役に立てるか疑問だけど、カヌスの方は問題ない？
Oh, sweetheart, don't doubt yourself.
無論だ。ミシェルを含め、お前たちにも傷一つつけさせはせん。
その威圧感で言われちゃうと思わず甘えたくなっちゃうけど、僕は僕でちゃんと働くよ。
A few minutes later, as Mizir was continuing his work, the first bead of sweat had dripped down from his forehead.
よしと、準備完了。
Wiping his forehead, Mizir was standing in the middle of a completed magic ring.
さて、じゃあことね、俺のそばに来てもらっても、陣を踏まないようにね。
Huh? Me? Why?
亀裂が発生したらまたスパルトイだのあの腕だのが攻撃してくるだろうからさ。カヌスとリンドウには周囲を死守してもらうわけだし。
Oh, I see. This would be easier, I guess, instead of me running and hiding somewhere out of reach. Following his suggestion, I walk toward the center of the magic ring and stand next to Mizir. The Kure that was with us also stood at our feet, ready to burrow itself when the time was right. I actually hoped that it would hide back in the cave, but the regulars suggested that in the worst case scenario, it would be safest to be close by, so it stayed here with us.
さて、これで今度こそ本当の意味で準備は完了。
Damn, all that for one word?
二人ともそっちの準備はいい？
I think they might have missed something, but okay. Like, all right, you two, and then are you both ready? But
お
okay.
そらく次の亀裂、ホールが開いた瞬間、俺がこれを発動させると同時、スパルトイとあの腕はこっちを脅威とみなして一斉に襲ってくるはず。
守りは任せよ。いかなる者が相手であろうとも断じてお前の邪魔はさせん。
ま、こっちも一応戦闘訓練は受けてるからね。スパルトイぐらいは任せてよ。
Receiving a response from the two reliable men, Mizir gives a cheery smile. Mizir? Is it okay that I'm here? I know it's safer here, but I might ruin your focus, so I'm a bit
心配ってそれは無用な心配ってやつだね。むしろ君がそばにいるとアンシャンテにいるような気分でリラックスできるんだよね。ほっとするっていうか、懐かしい香りがするっていうか、変に緊張しないで済む。
Mizir lets out a sigh and grins.
ダメだな。君とアンシャンテの名前を出しただけで。今すぐにでも君が入れてくれたコーヒーを飲みたくなっちゃったよ。
In reply to Mizir's gentle voice and smile, well, if we all get back all right, I'll pour a special copy just for you.
とびきり?
Yeah, actually, I've been researching a lot, and I've been working on my own blend. Something no one ever. Oh my God, Sasha, come on! Something no one's ever made before. I haven't had anyone taste it yet. So Mizir, if you'd like to, would you do me the honor of being the first to try it? As I considered how simple and quaint my token of appreciation must have been. Of course, my filthy gutter butt mind is thinking something else, but child. What's wrong? I don't like that look. He's really intense. Mizir looked like he was at a loss.
俺が一番最初に
Yes, that's what I said.
君が入れてくれたコーヒーを
Mm-hmm. Mizir?
ああ、いや、なんでもない。ちょっと自分に気合を入れただけ。
Okay, honey, sure. That's what you want to call it.
じゃあ、 その最高のご褒美のためにも。
Yeah, right on cue. As Mizir spoke, the crack splayed through the sky. Here it comes! I did listen to our surroundings. I listened to our surroundings. I didn't hear anything that sounded like fighter jets or Navy ships at all. That being the case, all we need to concentrate on is the threat of that wormhole in the Spartoy. After confirming that was the case, Mizir laughs and continues what he was saying.
ここは一つ張り切って演奏しちゃおうかな。
I love this theme.
セブルクルム。
Right as Mizir whispered, part of the emblem at his feet came up off the ground, floating as if it had a will of its own. They float up around him, one after another, turning upright, sideways, changing shape. It looked like a keyboard made of light. The moment Mizir put his hands above them, I heard a colorful variety of sounds that spread across the world one by one. Playing his mystical piano, his fingers sliding one after another. He didn't seem like a demon lord. He was a pianist, playing the most sublime melody you've ever heard. Mizir's performance began to have an effect. It was as if they were screaming. The cracks in the sky all began to groan loudly.
さあ、伴奏はこっちに任せて。君たちのダンス期待してるよ。
As Mizir called that out, 10 Spartoy from the forest appeared by the shore, charging toward Mizir as soon as they saw him. I think there's actually 10 of them janks on there. So, good shit, Atlas, for keeping the shit consistent. The difference in our numbers makes me hold my breath. I looked to see that one of Mr. Rendo's rounds hit a Spartoy right in the forehead. Rick, stop shooting my screen. Immediately after, I heard 5 gunshots, one right after another. You better reload, too. In no time, their number was down to 4. Still refusing to shy away, he readies a knife and continues his attack. Okay, as long as there's no horse shit that there's like the gun keeps firing, because that's a 6-chamber looking gun. He easily kicks one right in front of him and cuts through 2 more nearby. Alright, hype man Kure, eh? While the Kure and I stood stunned, Mr. Rendo quickly reloads. Hey, we actually follow real world logic, go figure. And the remaining 2 in no time met their fate by the barrel of his gun. Wow. Probably trying to reserve his strength, Kanas thrust his sword into the ground. Continuing on, as if in rhythm with Mizir's performance,
Mr. Rindo takes on the Spartoy that attacked us from every direction. He takes one down with each turn of his head. Round after round. Well, that was 4 shots. So he has to reload now. Alright. Calmly and with precision. He had no sort of overwhelming power, but his shots, never missing a target, clearly showed Mr. Rindo's composure, as well as his tempered accuracy. There you go, yeah. Every 6 you gotta reload. Mr. Rindo quickly reloads again after returning several more Spartoy to Ash. There was a sound of rustling grass. From beyond the trees, more Spartoy revealed themselves. Right when Mr. Rindo was about to ready his gun. For some reason, as if he thought it over, he lowered his weapon. He came back to me, rather back to the Kure at my feet.
質問いいかな。あのスパルトイたちがいる場所に君の仲間が隠れてる可能性は？
おそらくいないはずであります。あそこは土が緩い上、雑草も多く、土の中に潜りづらいはずでありますから。
なるほど。それじゃあ吹き飛ばしても問題なしだね。
With that, Mr. Rindo pulled out his Mr. Rindo. I spoke out to him without even thinking. I could even tell what he had in his hand. A tried and true.
心配しなくても、帝お手製のグレネードだから、そんなやつとはちょっと性能が違うんだ。
But believe you me, I done addressed this before. Why you ain't use that grenade when there was 10 of them out? You used that freaking grenade when there was 3? Make that make sense.
こいつはあくまで人外用さ。
And then also, unless you know that shit ain't gonna affect the your non-human allies, because that's a grenade we're talking. Like, why would you throw it near the non-human people? With a kind smirk, Mr. Rindo doesn't even With a kind smirk, Mr. Rindo doesn't hesitate to pull the pin. He tosses it effortlessly at the Spartoy. With the Cure's scream, a violent sound and shockwave erupted through the forest. And following that, skeletal remains rained down the area. Oof indeed, darling. Mr. Rindo spoke completely nonchalantly.
さて、僕がどこまで役に立てるか疑問だけど、カヌスの方は問題ない？
無論だ。ミシェルを含め、お前たちにも傷一つつけさせはせん。
その威圧感で言われちゃうと思わず甘えたくなっちゃうけど、僕は僕でちゃんと働くよ。
That's what he said before the fight started, but Mr. Rindo, what were you talking about earlier? You're really strong too.
買いかぶりすぎだよ。僕は人間としてそこそこできるってだけ。他の常連ズの足元にも及ばないよ。
I mean, the line kind of cuts deeper a little for me, but I'll bring it up in in the end game, we'll say. Even though he laughed it off, it was clear his actual physical capabilities were more than just a few moves.
さて、カナス、どうやら見る限り皇族は数が多いみたいだ。力を借りてもいいかな。
心得た。
That's when you should have used the grenade, dummy. Just as Bonus coldly, just as Kanas boldly stepped forward, now double the number. No, much more than that, which a grenade would have been really useful at this time. As if they decided to finally do harm to Mizir, what pushed forward was a massive amount of Spartoi coming from every direction in front of us with a thirst for blood. They had to have been over 50 in number. Again, great for a grenade at this point in time. After he spoke, Canis raised his sword and suddenly disappeared. And in one breath, several of the Spartoi to the right of us were cut in two, right at their torsos. And just as I was about to gasp, in front and to the left, the rest of them were sliced up from the waist up. They turned to ash, blowing away in the wind. Mr. Rindo elaborated on what had just happened, what his true strength was like. The knight had simply swung his sword at the countless number of boned soldiers. No magic, no controlling of fire, just swinging the giant sword he had in his hand. I'm trying to think of anything in this world that had power comparable to that. I'm sure anything I can think of would pale in comparison to Canis. As he lifts his head, the bony arm. Oh, never mind. He saw numerous Spartoi crawling out toward us from the cracks Mizir was trying to seal. Just how many of them were there? A shiver ran down my spine after seeing the endless army of bones. Crouching down lower than normal, Canis readies his sword once more. In the next instant, the sword itself let out a roar. This wasn't a metaphor, but what I actually saw in front of me was... I read that wrong. This wasn't a metaphor, but what I actually saw in front of me. All Canis did was stand there and swing his sword. But he formed a blade slashing through the air with huge force. Of course he did. And then they all died. The end. I'm just kidding. But not really. That's what the story is saying. With just that, all the Spartoi that were falling from the sky had vanished. What do I do? I should be a little afraid at least, but all I could do was stand there dazed. I felt like I realized once again why my regulars were called the final boss. And then, one within the group of these last bosses, the one they all referred to as a lord.
Mizir's finger movements sped up quickly. Then the shapes of the cracks in the sky slowly begin to waver. Yep, here it comes. More light spread the harder he played. The cracks groaned more the faster he was. They continued to shrink and sink with Mizir's performance.
これで終わってくれたらこっちとしては助かるんだけど
The cracks looked like they were being slowly pushed in from the sides, and they were definitely getting smaller. It's over. Any one of us would have thought that when... Yep. It's that arm again! The giant menace appeared again, forcing open these fissures that were beginning to close. It was that single giant bony arm. And then, just like last time, its fist came hurling toward Mizir and I in a simple attempt at crushing our bodies. Kana stepped forward with his sword, ready to protect us, but...
構わないよカヌス俺に任せて二人は少し退避を
After that, Mizir lightly exhales. As the fist collides, Mizir uses all fingers from both his hands and plays the keyboard like magic circle. The overwhelming force digs into the ground around us, sending it flying. Hold up! Is that bony dude? Sorry. Is the bony arm the guy that keeps like pestering us and like brainwashed us to come to Amasaki Island? Now that I think about it, because it's mysterious question mark person. Ew. With it, the large bony arm that stopped right in front of us made a sound like it was crying out. And I saw it slowly start to crumble away from end to end. And then, Mizir turns to face it as it crumbles away.
ここは君たちが俺も含めて好き勝手していい世界じゃない人外の世界じゃないんだだからあるべき世界に
He spoke somewhat sadly. With the tune, he began to play again. This time, surely, the eerie arm turned into inanimate ash. With the giant arm now gone, the cracks in the sky vanished without a trace, as if all of what just happened never did. Is it over? It all ended as soon as it started. Are you sure about that? Looking around, although the ground was fairly broken up because of the fight, what also remained was the usual veil of night, with nothing strange to it at all. The usual Amasaki Island. The sea casting its waves, a familiar calm to their rhythms. Hey, it just didn't feel real to me. As I pulled on his sleeve beside me without thinking. Huh? Whoa! Ah, yes, that'll be us. Man, he's easy.
こんなに気合い入れて魔法使ったの超久しぶり。冗談抜きで疲れた。
I knew this was real by the sound of the demon lord laughing on the floor and embracing me. Yeah, picture perfect. Now, not at all. Actually, I'm more worried about you.
まあまあ、この程度の疲れなんてさ。君からのご褒美、新作コーヒーを飲めば全回復しますとも。
That's a really easy recovery. Too easy. Even if it wasn't a video game. Self-aware. Well, I've got to make sure to give... Damn it, my lip. Well, I've got to make sure to give it my all, especially to make it especially delicious. It'll be a cup of coffee so satisfying that he'll shout for joy when he tries it. Good work, Mr. Demon Lord. When we get back to Enchante, you just have... When we get back to Enchante, you just take a nice rest over some great coffee.
ありがとう。けど可愛いマスターさんこそ無理はしないように。突然こんな場所に放り投げられた挙句、とんでも人外バトルに巻き込まれちゃったんだからさ。
Thank you. Yes, I did. Yeah, I think I've had enough excitement tonight to last me a lifetime. Oh girl, but the buck don't stop here. Probably enough for my next life too. He laughed at my comment, but it seemed like he was dialed in on what I said.
それはさすがに気が早いかもよ。
Huh? Again, he gives me his usual kind smile.
まあさすがに今回みたいな危険な騒動は二度とごめんだけどさ。ことね、君がアンシャンテのマスターでいる限りね。
These strange and sprightly days will simply continue, he whispers. Afterwards, it was confirmed that every single one of the Spartoi were eliminated from Amasaki Island. The GPM higher-ups also acknowledged the anomaly was dealt with and closed the case. The plan to destroy Amasaki was also cut. The defense forces withdrew, having no idea what had happened. We never understood what caused the wormhole or what that arm was exactly. They say the GPM will be looking into that. The Curé were also able to finally reunite with the threat now gone. Giving their thanks again and again, they saw us off as we left the island. That's right, the one that was near us during the battle. It mentioned it didn't come out right away, wanting to make sure Mizir and I had a bit of space. Also, about the attack Mizir launched that the GPM higher-ups considered to be one of the threats.
Yeah. とんでもないホールだったよね。あんなすごい力を放てるスパルトイまで作り出しちゃうんだから。わーい。
Mizir decided to blame it on the Spartoi, deflected the issue, and it was considered resolved in any case. Afterwards, on the boat ride back, I called my parents. I was able to confirm that they were safe, as the Spartoi had never come to shore. It seemed no tragedies occurred, and the... Sorry.
and the regulars and I decided to return by rail back to Tokyo. Oof. Without warning, my eyelids slowly opened. It seemed like as soon as I got back, I fell right to sleep. I look at the time and we were approaching the time today would change into tomorrow. Midnight. Seriously, today was a roller coaster ride. Shh, don't wake the coconut blue raspberry jelly bean. Kororo looked like he was sleeping so comfortably. I gaze at him as I think back on the events of today. I went out to the shopping district. I was flung away through the gate. I saw a giant non-human at Amasaki Island. Then everyone from Enchante handled it. All that happened in the few hours between the afternoon and now, on the verge of the next day. My regular here's are really some amazing people. I woke up. Maybe I'll have some warm milk and try to go back to sleep. Being careful not to wake Kororo up and quietly step down to the cafe. Huh? Considering how late it was, I didn't think anyone else would be here, but it better be Mizir. Yep. Someone was. They were quiet. I saw Mizir, back turned toward me, sitting at the counter. Mizir? I didn't expect to see you here. You're usually in the demon world by now. After I called to him, Mizir turns toward me, his robe waving, as if to greet me as well.
なあ、ことね。今日はなんとなくギリギリまでこっちにいたい気分でね。それと、君がゲートに引き込まれた例の妙な現象もあったでしょ。だから一応様子を見つつ軽く警戒しておこうかなって。
Aww. I see. I appreciate you being concerned.
いえいえ、お気になさらずってね。
Oh, right. I came down to pour myself some warm milk, but would you like anything, Mizir? That coffee,
それ
but
は嬉しいな。ありがとう。それじゃあせっかくだし、この前約束した
yeah.
だけの特製ブレンドをお願いしてもいい？
You did promise him that. Well, of course. Certainly. But I really am still testing it out. You sure you want to try it?
もちろん。何しろ君が作った世界に一つのオリジナルコーヒーでしょ。そんな素敵なものを最初に味わえる栄よ。他の誰にも譲れないよ。
It's nothing so amazing, but okay. I'll try to make you the best cup I can. I smiled, and as I went to boil some water, Mizir suddenly calls out to me, stopping me.
ああ、ちょっと待ってもらえるかな。それで一つお願いがあってさ。
A request?
できればそのブレンドこのカップに入れてくれないかな。
Okay. Why is it all cracked up like that? Splintered. With the snap of his fingers appeared a coffee cup that fit perfectly in his hands. It looked fairly old, with several small scuffs on its surface. What's this?
いわゆるマイカップってやつ。ほら、バーのマイボトルとかボーリングのマイボールみたいな。
Why don't you use your magic to restore it?
コーヒーマニアを自称する身としてはやっぱりカップにもこだわりたくてね。
Alright, can't hate on you. It just looks, or excuse me, it looks just like an ordinary mug to me, but is it actually really expensive?
もしそれが割れちゃったら魔王様の怒りで世界が滅ぶ。
What?
なんてことはないけどさ。
Oh.
でもそれでも俺にとっては大切なものなんだ。だから丁重に扱ってくれると嬉しいよ。
Oh, okay. I was about to tell him he should leave it here, but if it was so precious to him, I was about to tell him he should leave it here, if it was so precious to him, but his eyes were filled with kindness as they looked at me in the mug. So deciding that saying so much might be insensitive, I quietly nod. However, the idea that this mug was something the powerful demon lord kept so preciously, it wouldn't disappear from my mind. I hope I don't get too nervous and break it. Kitsune, you fucking idiot. What if my hands were shaking and I couldn't pour the coffee into it correctly?
まあその時はその時さ。大事な品ではあるけど、それも立派な消耗品だからね。
Girl, don't you break that. I will reach into this TV and slap the shit out of you if you become Butterfingers all of a sudden.
ということで、これからは気軽に俺専用ってことで、バンバン使ってちょうだいな。
Okay, if you say so, Measier. But I wouldn't be surprised if like the high liquid made the damn cup crack. Holding against the pressure, I pour the warm milk into my own cup and the special blend into Measier's. I tried over and over, adjusting ratios little by little. I finally began to see the cup I poured take shape. I'm still far from being able to hold pride in its completion, but this is the best cup I can pour. Here you go. Unable to hide my considerable anxiety or movements becoming very stiff, I give Measier the coffee. Measier, who takes his cup in his... Fuck, Sasha, damn it. Sorry, y'all. Measier, who takes his cup in his hand, while slowly taking in the aroma, begins to drink. Measier's coffee cup. A mug given to the heroine by Measier. At a glance, it seems to be an ordinary old coffee cup, but it seems quite important. I didn't hear anything, but okay. Good. I'm so glad you like it.
本当に美味しいよ。しばらくはこのコーヒーだけで生活できちゃうぐらいだね。
Don't overdo it. I still think there's a lot I can improve on with this blend. I drink my warm milk as well and enjoy a peaceful conversation with Measier. That's right, Measier. About the gate. Were you able to find out anything else? Were you able to find out anything else?
いや、それがさっぱり。直に調べてもみたんだけど、なんか 不自然なぐらいに静かというか、逆にそれが怪しい感じかな。なんというか、扉を相手に使うような比喩じゃないんだけど、君以外が近づくと露骨に猫かぶっておとなしくしてるって印象があるんだよね。普通あれだけのことを起こした後なら何かしらの名残や動きが残っててもおかしくないと思うんだけど。
Yeah, I suppose that's true. It's almost like the very gate itself has a mind of its own, huh?
あるいはその先に広がる異世界に何かがあるかだね。だからしばらくはあのゲートに深夜一人で近づかない方が賢明かな。
Got it. I'll be careful. Even I wouldn't want to have to go through that same experience again. But I really am glad all of you, or you all, were there in that place I got sent to. It was thanks to you that the wormhole at the island was dealt with. Hey, what do you think that wormhole was, really? Everyone's saying it's different from the ones usually out there, right? I casually aired out my comment while taking a sip of the warm milk.
ただ一つ言えるのは、あの世界は絶対に人間界に存在しちゃいけないもの。なのにどうしてあんな場所に出てきちゃったんだろうね。
As Mizir talked with a troubled look on his face, I thought back to the spar toy that appeared in that giant arm. Those things were, without a doubt, a threat to those living in this world. But exactly. Now that we were back safely, I recalled the moment. That noise when the arm crumbled, it felt like some kind of, I'm adding words. It felt kind of like a scream.
そうだね。意志もない。人外かも怪しい。そんな伽藍堂の存在だったのに。どうしてか悲しい。俺もそんな感じがしたよ。
As Mizir closed his eyes, he murmured with a lonely tone in his voice. No matter what strange things happen in the world, the morning will always find its way to greet us the next day. To provide hospitality in those mornings and the day to inevitably follow is my duty. Yes, for those who are human and those who aren't. Hello! Welcome to Cafe Enchante for like the 5th time I've done this. No matter who my guest is, I'll always greet them with a kind smile. Where memories and the aroma of coffee fill the room in this strange and sprightly cafe. Cha-cha-cha-cha. Oh boy. Posterboy Tell'em. All right, sweetheart. We are in it for the long haul. So, folks, oh my gosh, that's going to do it. Let me go ahead and save. Lord knows. All right. So, y'all, I am fucking tired. But that's going to do it for this video. I don't know how I'm going to deliberately divvy up this video. It might just be the one video. But yeah, y'all, that's going to do it. Thank you very, very much for watching. Good to know that we don't have to worry about alternate choices for the main route. So it's just going to be alternate choices for the alternate choices for like Measier's route. So yeah, y'all, I can't wait to see what the poster boy is all about. He is so cute around coffee. Like I said, I'm wondering if this is going to be a gut punch like the other routes kind of have been. Nothing's like really excuse me, nothing's really like happily ever after. Well, I mean, it's not like all fairy tale sort of deal. Like you deal with some real, I don't know, like some gut-wrenching stuff at times. So yeah, y'all, let me know if you've been with me for this long run. Let me know how you feel. Are you excited just as much as I'm excited? I really hope I'm going to get the best ending first. But y'all, if I get the bad ending first, I'll be a little sad. But it is what it is. So yeah, y'all, I'm going to call it for this video. I am so fucking tired. And then like I said, tomorrow I'll be able to play through this chapter 1. And I hope Measier's route is not as long as Ill's in terms of chapter length wise, because good Lord have mercy. Like, I could get a week's worth of videos with one chapter playthrough. That's how long Ill's chapters were. So I'm hoping it's not like that for Measier, but I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Alright, y'all, so y'all know my philosophy on this YouTube shit. View what you wanna, do what you wanna, and I'll see you lovely lads and lassies in the next episode. So until then, my friends, take care, take it easy, and